They're ready and they're here. Obi is in for, I know, ETH. Show me ETH before we go, though, bro, because this is ridiculous. Assassino, if we can show Joey's screen
look
there,
at this thing continue to go. It's not stopping whatsoever.
Ridiculous.
Wow, that's a beautiful, beautiful breakout. Tom Lee says this is the 2017 moment for Ethereum, according to Bitcoin there.
Boom. Big boys that way. See you guys soon.
Get it, Ethereum. Yeah. Get it. Is it Joe? Is it Joseph? Is it Joey ETH?
Who knows?
It's Joey ETH.
Joey ETH.
We call him Joey ETH now?
Joey ETHians.
Why not? What's hilarious, I just typed in ETHA instead of ETH because I wanted to do this. Wow. 4,000, baby. Well, we're going to go to a dare. We already have breaking news. Let's go.
Hey, yo.
Gold just dropped here. The White House announcing that they're going to be clarifying some misinformation on gold tariffs, and an official gold order is going to be posted in the future. Gold dropped on that again. White House saying that apparently there's some misinformation on gold tariffs that will be clarified in the future. Back to you.
Oh, and right back to the upside is GLD.
Reversion.
So reversion already. Hey, there's absolutely never a dull moment. I got to say, everybody, we had the pleasure, Nimrod was back. So Obi and myself had, I don't know, for the last hour or so, maybe we literally sat back at our desks 4 or 5 minutes ago after having an hour meeting with Nimrod and being able to talk some shop with him. And for those that are just tuning in, Nimrod, one of our viewers, longtime viewers, and a member of the tradertv.live community, came by incredibly generously, and he's always been really generous in the chat. And we're sort of talking a little bit of shop, which is always a heck of a lot of fun to do. So I'm literally in no positions because I got out of everything. But we're back for the afternoon, and what a weird day it's been. Is it really that weird? Nah, it's just a strong day. It's just a strong day. Whether you're talking about Apple blowing out, whether you're talking about Palantir going absolutely nuts, we had a lot in terms of movement, a lot in terms of this trend. Apple, like I said, Apple's been breaking backs. I got to check back in on Alphabet because I'm curious what happened to VWAP. Nothing. Yeah, it looks like Alphabet didn't really follow through to the highs like the rest of the market is doing. So most of the market is looking pretty strong in here. We'll cover obviously some earnings names out there and some small cappers that we were in earlier. I'd say disappointment for some of the continuation on earnings. Like you had, actually, you know what? The most disappointing name is one we didn't talk much about.
Which one is that, Neil?
Block. Was there an earnings?
Why was it blocked?
Well, it was more than blocked. It was, you know what, blocked today, which I won't say. I don't know what demonetizes and what doesn't you, but you know what I was gonna say. No, like block gapped up. This hasn't even caught a bid yet. It's now down 4%. From double digits in the aftermarket, down 4% on block. But we've talked about this whole comparison thing. And as long as you have to be, unfortunately, compared to a bunch of exciting stuff going on with Robinhood and the rest of the fintech space, you're not the same thing, but you're in the fintech space. And people get to choose where their dollars go. And who wants to invest in Block when you can invest in Hood? Or among other things. So unfortunately, it was a pretty solid quarter for them, but that's a disappointment. I'm disappointed in Rocket Labs because I had different ideas of what the stock was going to do, and we'll probably get to this one later. Like it was a good long twice. I just thought the second long was going to be through $50 and then going ham on a breakout. Instead, it ended up being a different type of long. We'll talk about all those for sure. We'll get Sharif locked and loaded and ready to go. I think he is. I just got the nod. Let's get into that rundown.
Go. Welcome to the Afternoon Rundown, everyone, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. Obi in for Sean. The big boys are locked, they're loaded, they're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get those tickers up there is to get into the chat and vote for your favorite tickers every day. Throw in that $sign followed by the ticker automatically registers. Here's a look at all 4 major averages and all 4 in positive territory. We'll start with the triple Qs on the top left of your screen, up 0.96, looking to clear that 1% area. Bottom left of your screen is the IWM, up 1/3%. Top right is the ES, up 0.84, looking to rival the NQ on the day, and the Dow lagging behind here. But In third place, up 0.58, just a little bit higher than half a percentage point green on the day. The first ticker, though, as decided by you guys, PLTR, another all-time high today. Not currently at it, guys, but good look for Palantir. No specific news.
Prior range high.
The only news, and I guess something we talked about Nimrod too, is people offside that are trying to short it, and the trend is your friend to the end when it bends. Those are the two things that you can talk about here, because the trend is obvious.
Do you foresee a bend on Palantir?
Well, I mean, eventually. Well, so if you look at the last time that Palantir did this type of a move specifically, then you're going back into the beginning of the year. And that was the biggest, like the bigger the move up, the bigger the move down. Now remember, there was a lot going on that's not happening now, clearly, right? So if it does continue this, I would suspect the last time I made this move was like an 85 to 125, right? So it went a 50% breakout and then gave it all back. Well, is this breakout going to $240? I don't know about that. But that would be the equivalent move, 50% move from there. So you could see a lot happen before you get a big pullback. It seems like it wants the $200 level. The channel break is fantastic. What's crazy is, we're not going to talk about Google, but I'll show you this for Alphabet. Alphabet has a similar, not as big of a channel break, but it's breaking one today. When it gets through the high, I'd say it's not going to move the way Palantir is, but it's the similar structure. I can see it accelerating for a few days after that breakout on PLTR. As I said this morning, for me, it was going to be like Rocket Lab was on my list more than Palantir. So, I didn't trade Palantir. I'm pretty sure Sean would have had a break. I don't know off the 85. But what it's been doing is break, consolidate, break, consolidate, break. That's the pattern right now on Palantir. So I would not be surprised if we have a consolidation day where it doesn't follow through and hold higher off the open on Monday, just based on the pattern it's doing. But the trend is still to the upside. All that really happens is on that consolidation day, you're looking for the place to dip by.
Yeah, I think something to note is like, it is very much in a very strong uptrend here. I know I got a little bit of a mess here, but I just want to point attention towards some of these anchored VWAPs, and especially the one towards prior earnings as well. I don't really have one on this current earnings just yet, but it's already holding up and extending pretty aggressively off of this earnings report. So we were like, okay, well, does Palantir see sellers? We're a little overextended in terms of price action when that earnings report did come out. We did break through the top of that range, just like Neil pointed out, but we've only been getting consolidations and continuations. Leg, consolidation, leg is what's happening here on a higher time frame when you look at the hourly chart. So Palantir, very long and strong. Will it stop? Nobody knows, but I think something to keep in mind here is the trend that it's holding. Neil just pointed out the last time it broke out of that range trend and extended a little bit too high, it did reprice, or well, if you want to consider that mispricing, it did revert back down towards the mean, which is the longer time frame higher trend that's happening here on Palantir. Intraday, absolutely beautiful breakout, right? If you were just defined the prior day as a bit of a range day, closing sideways, we saw how it looked like on the daily as well. That was a bit of a doji, right? So we got this gap up off of earnings, strong push. We hold and close above the prior day high, closing even higher, and then we get a full-on gap up above prior day's range opening up. So it gives us that poise for a potential continuation. Now, my fault for not really watching it right off of the open, but beautiful continuation that happened on this one. Aggressive push, and then like we were talking about, some of the biggest moves happened right off of the open, and since then, we've just been chopping within that range, right? But the interesting thing is, we did hold 185 halves, and we are potentially pushing towards a little bit higher as well. Let's see if that 189 comes in by the end of the day, Neil.
There's Adara.
Get it, Adara.
Apple at 230, trading off a continued momentum after that $100 billion addition that they're already they're adding to that already $500 billion that they announced in February up into the day's high.
More money, more money, more money. Apple
No problems.
Well, it's finally gone, Apple. And the resistance that was sitting there for a while at that 215. So I'm going to presume, look what's happening in Palantir, based on essentially one data point. What we can see with this is insane move, consolidation, insane move. So to expect that to continue the same way, like the move we're seeing today is a bit of an outlier on Apple, which is obvious.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So we've had 2 days and then a consolidation day. I'm expecting another consolidation day on Monday for this stock. The other thing that's going wild here is you'll probably draw the.
I already have.
Okay, you've already drawn it. I'm just gonna draw it now, right? So you could. I've drawn it really poorly. So Obi's going to have the trend line as well. Mine's actually pretty ugly, but it's on an all-day trend. Is the best way to put it.
I just
drew it really poorly. Go to Obi's chart. You drew it
right here. Look at that.
There it is. It's on an all-day
range
trend.
low, opening range low, holding the trend, holding the trend, holding the trend. Well, right now I'm just like, oh boy, is this the time that we break? But even then, it's so strong on the day. Look at that hold and extension above VWAP.
Yeah.
Even if we pull back down to 229, sure, that's a great scalp. We'll give you $1. But VWAP's all the way down to 226s, right? If we continue to hold this trend, do we push that 231? We know that Apple's been kind of held down a little bit aggressively relative to some of the other stocks in the Mag 7. Some of them have already seen all-time highs. We know that Apple's been lagging behind. People have been calling it kind of the safe haven in terms of the lack of volatility we've been seeing relative to the rest of the market as well. But maybe finally making that leg a little bit higher.
It's no longer the dead one.
No, it's coming back. It's coming back alive and rising from the depths like a phoenix. Apple is. But well, I don't know about like a phoenix, but definitely breaking this structure. Look at this 215 push. This is what I was looking for, and this happens not on the intraday, Neil, but happens on a multi-day. And this 215, this is just an hourly chart. This breakout happening and coming in pretty cleanly, all-time highs. Oh boy, let's adjust this chart. It's already adjusted. Our 259.47. Let's go to a weekly just to make sure.
I was going to say, if you pull up a weekly,
within range.
chart, it is very much within range on the weekly chart for this to get there next week. And that seems crazy, but if you just look at this weekly, like why not?
Multi-month consolidation.
Long multi-month consolidation on this weekly chart, and now going to close above the 50 on the weekly. 220 to 225 or so, like in that range, is going to be key for any kind of a dip in next week's trade, but all systems go. This one was coiling, ready to make a move. We've seen it happen. We saw when Alphabet finally let loose, same thing. So maybe this was the catalyst to get it done. And what's crazy about it is all it was we knew 500, and then all of a sudden you got an extra 100 million. Oh, I'm yapping, and it just broke down.
I'll give it a shot over here.
Of course.
I'll give it a shot.
Why crazy? Why
Keep
not?
it tight.
Although it's very different taking a short on Apple and taking a shot on BMNR when it starts going.
Oh, yeah.
The cheeky, that was a good entry. Sharif?
Bitmine, the next one up here, up big as a result of ETH moving up. They have now become the world's largest holder of Ethereum. So Bitmine, BMNR, up substantially on the day. Shove it to Joey.
So as far as, we already talked about Joey ETH and the move in Ethereum. BMNR is like this is like the on crack version. Let's just be real. Like it's like your 3x ETF or whatever you want to call it for this move that you're getting in ETH. So what can go up can also come down pretty quickly. We've seen it completely break any kind of reasonable structure before. And when you look at the secondary move, my first rule is it's not going to do what it did before. Whenever you have it, it's not going to happen. So we know in a general sense, there's almost no chance that you will see this getting to 100 or 120, 130 in any reasonably short period of time. Like, it's not going to do it in 3 or 4 days because statistically it's very unlikely. So what you want to pay attention to is this move up in ETH. If we have, like, see how Apple broke that trend? If that happens on ETH, then BMNR, that's a good place to get out momentum-wise. It's a momentum play where when it comes out, it could drop. It might halt. It's certainly a possibility that you could have a halt, but your futures indicator, I think, is going to be what's going on with these because it's breaking out simultaneously. So keep a close eye on it. It's done a tremendous amount of volume, although that can be a little bit deceiving when the bid comes out. Like, you can get trapped thinking 69 million in volume is fantastic, And then all of a sudden, when the bid goes out, you realize there's not as much liquidity as you thought. So keep a close eye on that ETH move, because if that reverts and breaks trend, I think this could be a VWAP in a hurry.
Yeah, we were literally just talking about liquidity traps with Nimrod or Nimrod.
Nimrod.
Nimrod. Okay, so with Nimrod, we were just talking about liquidity traps, and BMNR is a prime example of a little bit of a liquidity trap, if I do so say, Neil. We had that strong push going into earnings. Look at that volume, and then a much lower volume, failure to follow through. We do break down this little bit of a $40 hold. I forget what it was specifically, but this structure right here, we attempt to break down. We do sell off, but then a failure to follow through of that selling brings us right back up and above the anchored VWAP from where it all started. So now putting price above the average participant that's holding long as well, and kind of gives you a perspective of where shorts might be sitting on this as well. You want to put maybe an anchored VWAP from the highs as well, if I can find it over here, to give us a better perspective, and just taking it off the highs. Look at that, nice little compression there. So this is what I was talking about. The compression and expansion of some of these indicators can definitely be very much telling, as both the anchored from the highs and from the beginning of the move start to pinch. Price starts to push a little bit forward, and we start to break aggressively through some of these prior resistance levels, and that's exactly what we've seen here on the day. A little bit of a hold on lower volume. This is literally what we were talking about, Neil. Look at that morning rush. Low volume consolidation, failure to follow through on low volume, and then you get expanding volume through the breakout push, and structure only holds a little bit higher. Oh boy, what a beautiful continuation here on BMNR.
Hold on. No questions asked. But here's my question for you. You took the Apple reversion. Yeah. I missed that entry as a good.
I mean, it's coming back. It's trading sideways, man.
That would BMNR breaks the channel. I didn't even pay for locate.
It's, again, when it comes to things that are in the liquidity trap, and the trap is already set, I want to be pretty wary getting on that backside.
It's a little.
You know what I mean? Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. But sometimes, if it's a trap, you got to watch out for that backside trap.
Or the only thing you can do is spring the trap. Sometimes as a trader, that's your option. You spring the trap because that's your setup.
Yeah, well, that's called twerking.
What's weird is SOUN setup, and the irony, we'll get to it in a second. The irony with this one is not lost on me. Well, I'll tell you why after we go to Sharif.
Yeah, boys. Big move up, 27% and change, and off the highs after the company reported better than expected Q2 financial results, as well as boosting their full year guide ahead of consensus estimates. So nice move up here for SoundHound.
I came in with this. I SOUN was along, and Rocket Lab was along, and it's SoundHound trends up today, and I'm 0 for 2 on longs. Rocket Lab trends down, and I'm 2 for 2 on longs. So there's always that thing for whatever reason, and it is what it is. Every time I was getting out a SoundHound dip, that was a minute later is when it ripped, and it happened twice. Both times. It's a tale of sometimes. I always say that if you find yourself in a situation where that's happening to you, try to remember that you're picking the right price area to engage. And then the other side of it is the execution. And I kind of know what happened. Rocket Lab breakout trade works, and I caught this on the back end of the trade. And so all that really happened to me, and again, I know exactly what it was. I just was very impatient with this stock because I felt like it had a chance to go. Ultimately, it didn't really even go that far, but it's important when you are buying the dip to observe the buyers first or get the indication instead of just wanting to buy it in front of a level. So that was my mistake. And so as I see this come into the volume weighted average price here, I'm inclined to want to see a consolidation, some kind of a confirmation here, and then a breakout volume spike to get back in SOUN, which I am eyeballing. It's at VWAP right now. And the other thing I like about this is we're looking at a close. Well, now I'm in. I just put my offer. Oh, I didn't. I thought I offered evens. I didn't. I offered $9.99. That was unintentional. I actually thought I was offering the even. It doesn't really matter.
Great price.
Yeah, same thing.
I'm looking for that rollback.
Oh, so anyways, just to finish on SOUN. Breaking out on the daily chart. So this is a next week continuation play as well. as long as we close above this 13.5. I think you're not done here. I think you want to play this as long as we're holding above these highs for a bit of an opportunity, because it coiled and trended. If it can start breaking out the top of this trend line, 15, 16, very reasonable for opportunities for SOUN.
This, sorry, 1 second. Yeah, VinFast delivered over 35,800 EVs in Q2 of 2025, marking a 172% jump from last year. That brings their first half total to more than 72,000 EVs, up over 220% year over year. With stronger sales usually in the second half, they're on pace to easily double 2024's 97,000 units. They're also crushing it on two-wheelers. Nearly 70,000 e-scooters and bikes sold in Q2, up 432% from a year ago. And with gas-powered two-wheelers being phased out in Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, and by 2026, the growth potential looks huge. You can find them on the Nasdaq under the ticker VFS. That's in the Nasdaq ticker VFS. It looks like they're having a lot of fun ringing that Nasdaq bell there, or an IC bell. It's a good one.
All right, guys, Tesla last on the list over here. Good look today, kind of bull flagging, but off the highs. On the back of this headline, they're scrapping their supercomputer named Dojo, looking to focus instead on their data center build out in Nashville. So we'll keep an or Memphis, excuse me. So we'll keep an eye out on this one, but a good day for Tesla.
Definitely a good day. It makes, look, first of all, it makes a lot of sense. And people have been talking about this. I'm sure we've mentioned it earlier. That fly, we'll get them. We'll get that fly. That they would abandon that project. But I don't think that's what's moving us today. You're getting a strong day in the market. You've already had confirmations post-earnings that Tesla wants to hold 300, right? So it held that double bottom at 300 after earnings. It's just a stair-step breakout prior high. Where have we seen this pattern before? Apple, Palantir, consolidation, break, consolidation, break. So it's just, there's been a lot of this happening lately. The only difference I would say with Tesla and Apple and Palantir is the follow through after it breaks out. So like you're still running into a lot of sellers at resistance, and then it's not reverting that trend back to the upside or consolidating sideways or just gliding higher in the afternoon. So you still have this wealth of sellers which are holding it in this wedge pattern even when it breaks out. Meaning that opening break, it's like with Tesla, the opening break works or it doesn't. And if it does, great. You get that move and maybe you don't get anything else. So I feel like that should be the approach until proven otherwise, but still going to favor longs. It's now going to close above the 50 and the 200 period moving average, but we have yet to actually get out of this compression zone. Since earnings on Tesla. Like it's still very much in the compression zone. I think there's a really good chance that it could do it. And maybe it's a next week thing where you get that big explosive move where it's not just Tesla going up at the open and then finding a top and then trending down. No, we're holding VWAP and we're breaking higher. Like all the things that I wanted Rocket Lab to do today. That's what you could see. Just going back over, because like I jumped in why does it never?
Oh, good
It's because
Lord.
I didn't.
Come on.
It's because I didn't save my trend line.
Yeah,
there it is. So Apple broke the trend line.
It did
I
break.
elected to wait at 230 because I missed the fill. So that's, it happens. I missed the fill. So I waited at 230. My out half. And then right in here, it's like 228.60 to 229. That's the next support zone. So I want to take some out there and then just let it fly. See if it gets all the way down to the volume weighted average price here on Apple. That's always a target, but I feel like Apple's been so strong that VWAP might not even be a thing unless the market decides it wants to participate.
Yeah, man. That Tesla move, absolutely crazy. Opening drive was pretty interesting. We talked about that price compression happening on the higher time frame coming into the open, and oh boy, did I miss this one. But you can see prior day's high, that consolidation breakout leg, consolidation, leg. We keep kind of pointing this out. That three bar play on a higher time frame, the mechanics of that coming in really, really nicely here as you sustain prior day's consolidation low yesterday, and then coming in with a clean break of not only prior day's high, after hours high, pre-market high, a lot of different execution sets that you can be potentially using on this one, and a beautiful continuation, to say the least, through that level, giving you almost, what, a 10-point 15-point move all the way from highs, 320s to 335s clean on the high day test. Now taking a little bit of a breather, a little bit of a pullback. And there's no doubt, Neil, that the market tailwind definitely helped out that move on Tesla as well right off of the open. We saw how some of that strength came in with that opening drive, not just on Tesla, but a few of those names. We can see that Apple's still holding. I did take a little bit of a scalp back down into this 229 halves. I don't know. I didn't really like it, and I kind of punched out of everything. Bit of a mistake on my part, but I think we might be poised for a little bit of a wash of this 230 before we can get lower. Like you said, the bid has been aggressively strong, so I do want to respect that. And if it's going to show me that it's going to chop around, maybe even give us a higher low relative to this prior low here at 228 halves, maybe. But I'm looking for that 228 half to come in. That's only $1 away. Quick scalp of 30, I guess 30 to 50 pennies right here through the 230 break. I'm looking for the next trade. So let me know in the chat what you guys are trading. And oh boy, 229 quarters coming in now, trading much below that. Oh boy, Neil. Market, is it turning over?
The market's not really
So
participating in this
sustaining.
move. I want to see what happens at this even dollar, the 229 even. If someone steps in at the even dollar, they're stepping in at quarters. Really? You can't just get to 22. Someone just stepped in at quarters. I jumped out. Maybe
it chopped the last quarter as well. That's what I'm saying. 50's chopped, and then now quarters are chopping.
You punched out at the 50?
I punched out at the 50s because I was just
they
like,
just
I
did
don't
that
really.
to me, I think, at the quarters.
Yeah.
When I say they, or when we say they, I just mean like whomever it was that made it look like there was a buyer at 25.
The taste of the rainbow.
What's the taste of the rainbow?
With the tape.
Oh, the tape.
Because it's different colors, right? Because I have it, like, it's kind of not really a rainbow. You guys can see it in here. I got the greens, I got the yellows, I got the dark reds and the dark greens. So it's not necessarily your Roy G. Biv when it comes to.
It's not a rainbow, man.
I mean, I call it reading the rainbow because, like, reading rainbow. I grew up on reading rainbow.
Shout out to LeVar Burton.
Shout out to LeVar Burton.
I grew up on that myself.
Maybe the first tape reader. No, I'm joking.
That was a great show.
that was an awesome show. So I call it reading the rainbow. And yeah, sometimes it does well as Confluence, sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes I'm only taking a scalp off of the tape. Right? So it's like if I'm just taking a tape scalp, then the trend is not necessarily on the chart or on the book, but the trend is the tape.
In fairness, it's still holding.
It's still holding,
right
yeah.
So if you actually look at this, it's still like every time it gets underneath 229.25, someone's kind of bringing it back relatively quickly on Apple. I don't know why I have crude oil futures up. Oh yeah, that's because we had that headline. We had the Russia headline. That's why I was looking at oil futures for a bit. No, every time we've been getting underneath the quarters, and of course now it's not going to happen. There it is. Like someone just kind of slams it right back above. So like there's a sell. You saw that, right? Like it gets underneath the quarter. Someone shows up, tries to sell 1,000 shares, like a 10 lot, and then immediately it just gets slammed back to the upside. It gets under again. You see some sellers come in, and they immediately get bought up. Second, someone shows any more than a 1 lot under 25, they're just getting bought. So that tells me, like that's what I was seeing to get me out of the trade for 70 pennies, but. Maybe it goes further, maybe it doesn't. When I see those buyers, I tend to want to, not always exit stage left, but listen to the buyers that we see. That said, there was a question. We didn't get to all the earnings, and we're never going to get to everything that reports or that moves on a daily basis. SMR and some of these nuclear names, starting to give it up. And I was asked, do I still hold SMR? I do. Did I sell some on the way upside? Yes. Have I sold anything since the report or today? No. However, this is losing the 50-period moving average. So in my swing account, I am very likely, I don't know that I'm taking it out this afternoon. If it does a really distinct move, I might take some out in the afternoon. If it doesn't, if it just kind of does nothing, sideways down 10%, I might consider taking some out on Monday or Tuesday. I haven't made that decision yet. But it's not doing anything drastic enough under the 50 period that I want to completely cut it off. If I had not sold anything, I certainly would. However, on the other side of that is GE Vernova. In this particular case, this is different. This one, I have taken some out because it retook underneath the 650. This feels very top heavy to me. And it's been a wild ride. If you pick this up, or you look, anybody that owned a bunch of GE shares, just you got lucky. What are you gonna do? Like GE didn't do this. GE Vernova did, and I liked it for the Jimmy Carter pick too. But I think it's gone a little bit far. I love the fact that we're still buying, building data centers, all that good stuff, and Meta is continuing to spend. It's just getting a little top heavy, in my opinion, and the opportunity to take something off on these nuclear adjacent names, right? Because they're all involved in the same process here, and they're rising for the same reason. Whether it's speculative or a little bit more substantive, they're still following the same trend. And as that trend starts to show some cracks, I want to make sure that I'm taking some profits. That's just me personally. We'll still ride or die long term with it. I'm not giving it all up. And then we did get a super chat. I wanted to make sure we got to everything. And apologies for not going right to the super chat. What is with, whoops. And now you see that Rivian Millionaire. Come on, Rivian Millionaire. Keep it clean, my friend. Thoughts on ELV? Shout out to you, Bob Plays. We'll throw up a little Elevance Health. When it decides it wants to load up here, we'll throw up a little Elevance Health. So there was a conversation, actually, when we were speaking with Nimrod, UNH came up, right? And it came down to everybody thinks it's an opportunity to buy. Warren Buffett thinks it's an opportunity to buy. Lots of people are looking for that bottom. And you have something like ELV, which is a very, very similar looking chart in a similar looking play. What this has actually done, believe it or not, is hold the low, establish a consolidative range, and now have a chance to break out. UNH, if I load it up, it'll probably be even more shy because its chart's a little bit more putrid. This is made a fresh low. It's attempting, but you don't have the same level of consolidation. Like, I'd be more convinced that ELV is a good breakout trade. UNH, everyone's trying to chase it, and maybe it's the same trade. I just think it's probably a little safer if you're picking bottoms to go over and look at like an ELV with a much stronger consolidation at the bottom. Like this breaks out 300, like you give yourself a nice entry if it breaks the 300 area. It's just a little bit more clean than UNH. I would venture that maybe UNH has more upside just because of how far it's fallen, but you could do worse. I'm assuming you're sort of asking about, I always make the assumption that people are looking for an entry to long when we get questions about this, because usually that's what it is. So I would say I usually want it to break out as opposed to pick the bottom, because then I get in and I have an out. I can either give it, I can give it like a prior, if I'm using the daily, I can give it to a prior high close, like 283, or I can give it to the absolute low, and I'm taking it at 300. I cover some at the 50 period and cover some at the 200, or probably cover it all at the 200 period, and then that's the play. So it keeps it pretty simple, the structure on ELV here. But you are, to me, I think you're waiting for a little more confirmation. Because if you just buy it now and it just fails at 300 like it's already done, what's the point? Give me confirmation or just buy it off the low with a tight stop.
I like that look. I'm just looking for the next trade here. Watching that Apple tape, Apple did kind of hold that quarter and reprint that half.
So
and
we
still
didn't get
poised.
faked out.
So exactly. I mean, it's like. Exactly. It's just like sometimes you see something on the tape. Maybe it's a little too early. Maybe it's a little too late. But it doesn't matter. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to respect what the rainbow is kind of telling you, right? So it's like, all right, well, sometimes it's a good read. Sometimes it's not the best read, and that's kind of it's a probability game, right? We were just talking about things being probabilities. It is very much a probability game, and relative to your experience reading the tape, you can, I guess, assess the tape more or less. Short term being like, all right, well, sellers are hitting, sellers are in control. I want to participate. Oh, they're not in control anymore. Buyers are in control. I kind of want to participate in that by covering or even starting along. Regardless of what it is, I'm looking for the next opportunity. 299 halves is still holding here on Apple, still technically making a higher low relative to this 28 halves. So let's see if this 229 quarters still holds. We did kind of top 231s pretty cleanly. The whole, I think the high a day is 231 holes, 00 to be exact. So yeah, got to see if that one can come back in. I'm looking for 230 to print again, and it is holding up pretty nicely for that. But before then, before we get involved into that, if that potentially comes in, let's take a quick look at some of the volume leaders on the day just to see what some of these in-play stocks are doing on the day. SOUN, we talked a little bit about this one, and I was like, in the morning, this had a pretty sound price action coming into the open, and it's held that. Look at that hold of anchored VWAP right off of the open. Beautiful, coming back into VWAPs and holding it multiple times. Sure, the highs are not really distinct. We're kind of choppy. We're not really making higher highs or lower highs or anything like that. We're pretty much trading within a range, but holding support every time it gets into this VWAP area on SOUN. Pretty decent. NVIDIA, again, also pushing a little bit higher. NVIDIA has a stake in SOUN, right? Or did they relinquish that stake? I forgot if that was the case. But NVIDIA is the second volume leader on the day.
Yeah, I don't want to answer if I don't know exactly.
Yeah, but it was SOUN and a couple other stocks that I did have on watch for a little bit. But they had that pharmaceutical stock as well, RXX something, RXRX I think it might have been. Yeah, I got to go back and look into that. Trade Desk. This one was amazing off of the open. Might have wanted to get involved in the pre-market.
This says that
yes,
they no longer hold.
Okay, yeah. They fully exited their position in Q4. Okay, so the beginning, end of last year. Yeah. All right, so yeah.
I wasn't like I thought they might have, but I wasn't.
I knew they were holding at one point, and I know they sold off a bunch of stuff since then as well. So yeah, SOUN coming in as a top volume leader on the day. Trade Desk reversion to VWAP, that was there. Apple, absolute strength here, still holding pretty well. We're watching this one pretty closely. 231 highs all day trend. And of course, you have to remember, when the trend breaks, it doesn't necessarily have to sell off and revert all the way right away. We know it's strong on the day. The trend can just slow down. We talk about speed lines. We talk about, just the bids speeding up and slowing down. You can see that the morning session, very aggressive bidding, very, very consistent. And we've slowed down, but still making higher lows technically as of right now into this high a day. Flat top-ish area of 231s on Apple. So going to continue watching that one there. Is this M Micron? No, it's not. MRM, don't know what this one has been up to, but $2.15 on the day. A little bit of a chop on this one. Tesla is the next one right here. BMNR, that's the next one. Oh boy, potentially taking out high a day now, Neil, once again. So Bitmine, Immersion Technologies, immersing itself to the upside. I want to take a look at what ETH and Bitcoin are also up to here. Do they look similar? If that's going to be a treasury or a miner, then yeah, okay. Ethereum, similar kind of chart here. We saw Joe take that breakout as well. Solid trade on that one as that pushed higher and higher. We're finally above 4,000, Neil. So it's here. We might see that 5,000 soon enough. I think we got some breaking news. What's up there?
Interesting little catalyst here for QNTM. An individual by the name of Kevin Malone just shared a post on X. Apparently, he is an advisor to the board of QNTM. That's Quantum Biopharma, so not a quantum name. He said, and I'm just going to quote his post, "Something is up. The QNTM board called me last night needing to discuss secrets with me in person. Quote, timing is crucial," end quote. So I'm about to land in Toronto. So QNTM did get a bit of a pop on this. I would love to know what secrets the Quantum Board is going to be discussing with Kevin Malone, but either way, a bit of a move on this and just too interesting of a story not to share. Back to you.
Yeah, but is it like I'm getting on a plane like we thought Shohei Ohtani was getting on a plane and coming to Toronto? That was utter and absolute nonsense. That just brings back really, really bad mememories.
I believe he is on the plane, Neil, so hopefully he's not going to pull a Shohei.
No, that was one of those. What's hilarious, I can't say directly, there was a dude in my fantasy league who actually to his credit, he couldn't say anything, but he knew for a fact that Shohei wasn't on that plane. And it's like, and he couldn't say a word.
Yeah,
and it's like a bunch of Toronto fans, and we're just all in our going absolutely nuts that it was happening. And the dude knew for a fact. And I remember after he's like, "Yeah, I was just sitting there laughing at you guys, watching all the messages because everyone was losing their minds that we're going to get Shohei Ohtani." And then he rug pulled us. So we booed the crap out of him in his first at bat in Toronto. I was there, and then he went yard because that's what he does. That dude's amazing.
Went yard?
He hit a home run.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hit the ball out of the yard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's actually, I wouldn't even expect you to get that one. That's like most people would have no clue what I mean, what I'm talking about when I say this guy went yard, unless you're an actual baseball fan or you played ball. Anyways, speaking about ball, almost said SoFi. SOUN is what I meant to talk about here. Came into VWAP. That fly is playing with my emotions. Came into VWAP, showed a little confirmation on a bounce. This thing is not moving. That's the first thing. So I get in, but volume's not really doing much. I'm like, yeah, this is kind of a lame duck stock right now. I shouldn't be. What I'm going to do, so basically I just scalped a bunch out. I'm going to add to this if I start to see volume come into it. But there wasn't the volume justifying, so I kind of got out a bunch early, realizing it didn't make any sense because you want to see the volume come up. You don't want to force a trade. Like, to me, that Apple trade, I thought that was worth it. You know, you got the trend break, enter it to 230. Unfortunately, a buyer came in, 70 cents in. But Apple's been trending up all day. Like, to me, that kind of a trend break makes a lot of sense. But SOUN could easily just sit here off VWAP and do absolutely nothing. So I took out the bulk. I want to look for a place to add. Maybe another bounce off VWAP, and then volume kicks in, or I can see it start to trend up on good volume, and I can jump back into some more shares. But that'll be the plan of action instead of just blindly hoping it's going to go ham here. David gave us a super chat.
Yeah, we got a super chat right here.
David in the house as usual. Obi, this is to you, man. You want to read it?
Sure, yeah. So David, thank you, David, for the super chat saying, LeVar Burton is so awesome. He definitely is. Was dating his best friend's daughter. Nice, dude. And we all closed the bar. He was in Oakland to shoot a Reading Rainbow episode. Yeah, man. I grew up on Reading Rainbow. Absolutely awesome. And yeah, I love some of the stuff. I don't know what he's up to now, but I love some of the stuff he did.
Dating his
great
best
childhood.
Friend's daughter? That's cool.
I mean, I still love reading. What I read has definitely changed, but I was let's just say there were times where I was standing in line at the Chapters or the Indigo, waiting in line for books, and a lot of my love for reading definitely came from the Reading Rainbow, and yeah.
Shout out to I have to cop to something.
Yeah, what's up?
My love for reading came from a promotion that my dad did. So when I was I want to say 7 years old, maybe, somewhere around that age, my pops, he just got a Macintosh, the old, this would be 80, I don't know, 85, 86.
The one with the colored back.
So we just got that Mac home PC. He was an engineer, so it was the cool stuff. And he was showing us spreadsheets. So I started looking, I'm a nerd. I started to look at spreadsheets when I was really young. Anyways, he comes up with this plan where we go to the library once a week. And he's like, I'll give you X amount of money, or it's 1 penny for every page that you read.
Yeah.
For books, obviously, as long as you track it yourself. So we had to track it ourselves, and 1 penny per page.
Nice.
So I was like, I'm reading everything. And I love baseball, so I read every single baseball book in the Brampton Library system within 2 years. Damn. It was wild, all of them. So I know all this random baseball crap because I was just getting paid to read by my dad, which is genius because then I liked reading. He's smart
that works. That works.
No,
you know what my parents used to do? Something similar, so a reward system. So they would be like, all right, over the weekend they'd go to the bookstore, sometimes even the dollar store, and they have those workbooks. Right? And they're like, for every workbook, so it was a math and science workbooks that they would just give me a stack of at the beginning of the week, and then be like, okay, for each workbook that you finish, you get 1 Hot Wheels car, and I love cars. I love cars. So, and they knew that. They used that to their advantage. So I would finish workbooks, and they weren't that thick of a workbook, and I'd try to finish 1 or 2 a day, just basic math and just science stuff. And at the end of the week, they would take me to the store, and then we'd buy a bunch of Hot Wheels, and I have a whole carton of Hot Wheels still sitting from all of those
you still
times.
Have them?
I still have them somewhere up in some blocks in the attic or something like that.
I'm so
but
jealous.
I still have all my stuff.
So jealous.
I told them never throw that stuff away, dude.
So you don't have too many cousins. I had too many cousins, man, because what happened with all of my toys and all the stuff I had, crazy Lego sets, all that stuff that I had, at some point it's this went to that cousin and this went to that, and I have no clue where any of it is.
Yeah.
Man, I had the Michael Jackson Thriller jacket. I remember, look, man, when I got that for a birthday as a kid, and it was like it was like the greatest gift I'd ever got. Yeah. Just from like, obviously because it probably cost a bit too, and like that was the ish, and I'm like, this is my thing. And then eventually, I don't even know when they gave it away to somebody else. When I outgrew it, it went to some cousin, and I still don't even know who has it. Just going back over to the market here for a second.
Oh boy.
SOUN, now it starts to go, okay, so we took some off, maybe a little bit aggressively. I still think, look, 13.90, we just took some out in front, 14.10. So I'm gonna pop an offer in the 90s here, like low 90s. 1993, Jays won the World Series that year, so why not? 92 and 93. We're gonna pop an offer there, see if we can't get to the high of the day as this is starting to go. And we're gonna go up to a dare and come back and we'll talk a little bit about both Apple and BMNR.
Teased this earlier today, but it's officially been released. This is a look at all of Starbucks' CEOs from their IPO until the present. So I've been excited about this. The reason I wanted to do this is because Starbucks is a bit interesting in that one of its CEOs, Howard Schultz, who also took the company through its IPO, he served 3 separate terms. 2 of them were in a full capacity. The last one was in an interim capacity. But yeah, this is pretty wild. They did include interim CEO Rachel Rogeri here as well. She only served for about less than a month between when Laxman Narasimhan stepped down and when Brian Niccol officially took over on September 9th, 2024. But yeah, I mean, Brian Niccol was announced just about a year ago as of this Wednesday, August 13th. So with that in mind, pretty interesting stuff. There's a lot more details about the analysis and the research here. You can check out on X at TTV Research. I will drop the link to this post and master thread on this on our chats. Check this out, X at TTV Research, if you enjoy interesting infographic content, and if you have any ideas for things I should do deep dives into, always let me know. Back to you.
Howard Schultz is a G. Straight up. Like, let's just keep it real. Like, those numbers are ridiculous. In absolute fairness, like, you could annualize the return, so at least those weren't CEOs for a long time, because he had it for a decade twice. But the dude still, obviously, that's really impressive. I promised before, I know we're going to go somewhere else, but whoops, it was Apple I wanted to go to. Looks like maybe that Apple might be starting to come back in there. For sure. And then before we go back over, it looks like someone just said in the chat AMD's picking up steam. Maybe not. A little bit on AMD. AMD has had a rough day today. You'll notice we didn't trade it today. On AMD day, someone's going to have AMD long. When it's a short day, I picked on Intel instead. But let's go take care of some business. But AMD, a little bit of a bounce. I don't know that it's really catching too much of a bid here. I'll keep it up, because if it gets to VWAP, I want to join that train somewhere.
All right, guys, savvy Canadian traders, listen up. Are you looking to boost your exposure? You can now tap into the Nasdaq 100 and the S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3 times daily leveraged ETFs, featuring built-in FX hedging. This aims to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings. Whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active day traders ready to take on the market. Please remember, read the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing. Yeah, man, that Apple is coming in. Maybe potentially, it's holding the quarter still at 229s. I got a close eye on it because it definitely is a candidate for a potential reversion. But given the time, we're going into the last hour of the day. It's 2:50 right now, so almost time for power hour. And yeah, maybe we will find some selling going into the end of the day. Maybe some mean reversion back down into VWAP is what I'm potentially looking for. Google, I was definitely involved in aggressively and heavily in the morning session. Took that reversion to VWAP when it did finally come in. But since then, just straight chopping in and around VWAP, so nothing too crazy. Microsoft was another one I was looking at, Neil, off of the open, looking for more of that selling to come in on the day today. And we did kind of sell off. The sellers were very dominant from the morning session into roughly about the middle of the day there, and going into 11:45. But since then, bidding right back up and trending within the range of the open there. So opening range hold as of right now on Microsoft. So nothing too crazy just yet. Google's holding. Amazon was another one. I was looking for a potential push and a continuation. We saw the full-on 100% reversion that this thing did yesterday, where we open up 220s, 221s, go all the way to a high of 226s. Oh boy, when that bid dissipates, we come all the way back down. Pretty nice reversion, 100% reversion back down into opening range lows, only for a little bit of profit taking, maybe a strong bid going into the end of the day, and a reversion of the reversion that goes right into VWAP. So I was like, all right, pretty interesting there. Reversion of the reversion of the reversion. So today we're coming back in. We held that end of day close pretty well, I would say. We attempt to push a couple of times. Can't really make it past I guess 225s all the way up there, but I guess what is this? Pre-market highs right there, 224s. Can't really make it up there, and selling maybe a little bit dominant as we push into low of days here. You can see the futures are distinctly different relative to the action on some of these Mag 7s, as it's been just holding higher highs and higher lows, grinding up for the past, I guess, 5 to 6 15-minute candles here on the Nasdaq. The ES a little bit more muted as it's going a little sideways there as well. So keeping all of those on watch. Let's take a quick look at some of those earnings names I had on watch in the morning. It's rare that all of the earnings names do exactly what I'm looking for, and today was no different here. So let me take a quick look at where is my morning plan right here. Oh boy. So we had Trade Desk, Tulio, Rocket Lab, SoundHound, Pinterest, SMR, App, Frog, Crocs. All right, let's take a quick look, do a quick run through of these ones, starting with Crocs on this day. Okay, beautiful reversion, gave back a little bit of the bid, and I was looking for a day 2 continuation on this one, maybe coming in later on in the day. Sellers still a little bit dominant after that morning session bid up. That came in. Frog, let's see what this one's up to. Okay, a little bit of a push coming back into the market, bouncing off of, I guess, 41s, 40 halves roughly on the day today. Pretty interesting. Is it doing relative volume, you may ask? Well, it was doing 140 coming into the open there. Doesn't really do too much volume in the pre-market, it seems, on the regular. So we get those crazy relative volume pushes. Pinterest, I'm wondering what you're up to. Okay, still holding within range. We caught a bit of a bid. I was looking for it to get pinned to the ground, looking for that continuation, but that didn't really happen. 33's held really, really well off of the open, and we've only caught a bid.
I'm a little surprised by that one.
Yeah, I was looking for continuation because we talked about, okay, well, you know, some of these, like you talked about Meta, you talk about some of these other social medias, not really holding up. Snapchat as well, right?
Snapchat was like 9% revenue growth. These guys were what, 13, and then Meta was 7. No, Meta was like 22. Reddit was not even. Reddit's in a different stratosphere. It was like 70 or 80% or something ridiculous year over year. So really, it was just a comparison game why pins got beat up. I thought that's what most of this earnings cycle you've been seeing. If a stock gets that comparison wrong with cohorts, they get smoked, and you don't catch that bid right away. Amazon might be an example of that with their cloud number compared to Microsoft, Azure, and of course Alphabet. But I thought pins would have that same fate. Thankfully, we weren't trying to short this thing because that was very strong, as you said. But a name that did. And to go from, like, obviously a nice bounce in Pinterest to the Trade Desk, which you mentioned. The Trade Desk was totally different. It caught a small bid. You're 37% down after bouncing. After bouncing, you're 37% down. Like, they got absolutely smoked. Now it's back above the volume weighted average price. I don't think this was a very clean-ish mean reversion. I don't know where. Like, you could have had it in here at noon. I guess right at the lesson of the day. That was a good one. But even with the bounce, you're talking about 37% down on TTD. And really, a goal structure to the south side is going to be, it's almost like no matter how much it bounces, you're going to come in looking pretty bearish on Monday on a higher time frame. It's a good hold at that 55, 54 area going all the way back to May. But this is the definition of let it settle down a little bit. AMD broke a little bit. Yeah, AMD is breaking trend. What's the only thing that has me, give me pause on AMD is when I look at the bigger long structure, like it's coming in now to the daily trend, which only has 2 points at it, but you know, yes, it's going from the low, but now you're running into this top of the trend line here with advanced micro devices for sure. So what's its cohort doing? NVIDIA trying to break out the highs. It's like, why not be NVIDIA breakout instead of AMD? NVIDIA is up 1.25, almost 1.25, and looking relatively strong. Makes a little bit more sense to me. I'm just going to double check on SOUN for everybody. Like I said, this one is not, like, it's not blasting away like it was earlier off the volume weighted average price. Like, you've gotten a 20-cent move, which is fine for a $13 stock, but when it bounced off VWAP before, SOUN went 50 to 60 cents. And it did so in a pretty rapid time. Like, we might have already seen the big move, and now we're just consolidating. I don't know if this is going to be a reload anymore. I'm just going to stand pat. We have a bit left. We'll hang on to see if this can get past $14 or so. But this might be slowing down a bit. Ooh, I like that. You can get me, and you can get the chart in there. Why not? Oh, you don't want to see me. You have a stock that's up 28%. It's going to look much nicer than my ugly mug, right? Like, or better yet, you look at that gorgeous looking channel on the daily chart breaking up. That's what, see, this is what gives me the feels. The continuation potential here on SoundHound next week. For sure. Let us know what else you guys are watching in here, because the futures, it's like watching paint dry, although it's running up. So that's good. It's like being proud of the story, proud of what we're seeing in here. I love what the Nasdaq is doing today. We're rounding out a week where this was more about small cappers than large. 37% of the Russell reported this week. So you've seen more runners than it is the big cap earnings. But for the most part, the market has just been steady Eddie. Right? We're now 93% chance we're going to get our cut next month, and the market seems to like what's going on. I mean, labor numbers.
Should be good.
It's one of those bad news, good things. The weakness in the labor market, we get our cut. Bond yields are chilling down near the lows, doing absolutely nothing to scare us. New Fed member doesn't seem to move the needle. Market just continues doing what it's doing. That's what you want to see in a bull market. Sometimes I like the boring up day in the futures. You can focus on individual stocks, and you can sit there smiling about your long-term account.
Yes, sir, for sure. I just want to say, Sean is saying what's up to everyone, and he's just talking in the chat right now, saying what's up, Neil, and what's up to everyone. Hopefully you guys have a good weekend. Hopefully you have a great weekend, Sean, as well. He's got the tournaments going on every weekend, right? So good luck to him there. He just wanted to say what's up and have a good weekend to everyone in the chat. You'll be seeing him on Monday once again. So yeah, I'm here for the rest of the day. It's Power Hour now, Neil, as of right now. So I'm not really seeing too much. Apple's holding that 229 pretty well. I pulled up Snapchat a little bit earlier. Not really trading this one on the day today. But I want to know what you guys are trading. MRM is saying Tom H. So MRM, I know we looked at this one a little bit earlier. High a day, so a bit of a squeeze happening. So let's take a delve into this one and see what this one has been up to on the day today. Shares float, no idea what that is right off of the bat. Market cap, 9.48 million. Oh boy, that must have been from yesterday or this morning. Okay, so that gives us a float of roughly, I guess, okay, interesting. Average volume done 3 million on the 30-day, currently doing 80 million volume. So yeah, Neil, talk about relative volume. This is doing 16,000 times the relative volume currently, 19,000. Like look at the 5-day. That just means this absurd. Does not do volume at all. That's all that means. All it means is this does not do any volume, and on a day like today, this is doing significant amounts of volume, coming up as number 5 in terms of market volume leaders on the day today. So absolutely crazy move on this one. Hopefully you guys are involved. Definitely would have shown up on a lot of in-play. There it is, Power Hour, opening of the hour. Let's see if any sort of interesting moves happen to draw the opening of the last hour candle. But yeah, $2.80 current day high, pushing a little bit higher, breaking this downtrend that we saw in the pre-market. Nice short off of the open as well, but maybe trapping some shorts there and pushing a little bit higher as we push even more. Look at that expanding volume coming into the high day break. Oh boy, if you're short, you gotta watch out for this one, as we were literally talking about liquidity traps and short traps. This is definitely a little bit of a short trap from the morning session here happening on MRM. You might need a medical healthcare technology after dealing with this one if you're sitting short.
Unless you're into that sort of thing, because maybe that's your deal.
Maybe.
No, so like some people like pain. Some people seek out and enjoy pain.
I was doing a little bit of that. I do that sometimes.
I've seen traders. No, I've literally seen traders who it's like they want, like it's they're drawn to whatever is the thing that is the most, it could be counter trend, dangerous trade. Like this stock is the biggest runner today. They want to get the short. They want that spot. The market's absolutely falling. They're the kind of they're the kind of person that during the flash crash is just salivating for an opportunity to get on the bid.
Oh boy.
Where it's like
it's mispricing.
No, it is.
If you truly believe in mispricing.
That is true.
You know what I mean?
But I would venture to say that's not the right example.
What's going on? These guys are having too much.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love it. Who's on there? Is that Ramin?
That is 100% Ramin.
I'm like, for sure that's Ramin. Andre's not messing around like that. Team Ramin all the way. This is why we need Ramin on. You guys have no idea. Ramin is so hilarious.
Yeah.
Yes, you are funny. Ramin is naturally
funny,
hilarious.
yeah.
Just
He's got
absolutely
jokes.
hilarious. We got to get her on camera at some point. We have to, right, Ramin?
Ramin, have you ever thought about doing stand-up? I think it would do. You do well.
She's hilarious. Trust me.
Jokes.
Good person, but absolutely funny.
She said people will be hurt. What do you mean?
She'll.
No.
The other thing Ramin will do is
You're gonna hurt them. You're gonna hurt them because they're gonna be laughing so hard, grabbing onto their stomach. Maybe that's how you'll hurt them.
That's a good laugh. You want that deep in the gut that you can't even control it. You can't control yourself.
Like your abs start hurting because they've been getting a workout. You know what I mean?
That's the absolute best, man.
Damn.
That
Now I
was
wanna
me
go to
watching
Yuck
Tropic
Yucks.
Thunder. That was me watching the first Deadpool. Was just
First Deadpool, I like
out
that
of
one.
control. The first one, I mean, look, they're all good.
I think I recently saw the Deadpool versus Wolverine. That one. It's okay. It was all right.
Nice.
It's fun. I think it was fun.
At some point, things get stale. See, this was my concern
Fast
with
and
AMD,
Furious?
everybody.
You said at some point things get stale. Fast and Furious is a prime example.
Oh, of course. That ridiculous.
What is it? We're on the 11th movie?
I don't know which one it is, but the worst scene in Fast and Furious history was the one in the cargo jet thing. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And the tank was pretty bad too. But I was afraid this might happen on AMD.
Yes.
So if you looked at it,
dude, I
just
defined that trend
respected
just a
the
few days
all-day
ago.
trend. It
Oh my
just
God.
respected this all-day trend on AMD. Bang, bang, and then a third bang.
Bang, bang.
The good news is now we can break this trend. So it's giving you a third point. It's holding on trend. The market's generally trading up. So if we can now break out above 172, that gives me an entry I like. I didn't want to just randomly long it going into the trend line, but it's different if it respects it, pulls back, consolidates, and then breaks it out. So AMD is going to go up on the side chart for that trend break through 172, which I think can happen for sure. Shout out to, I see some people asking about Palantir. Also, we have an unbelievable team here. And I'm forever Team Ramin. Don't worry if you spell it right or wrong. People spell my name wrong all the time. It's R-A-M-E-E-N. Excuse the spelling. The first Deadpool was hilarious, I agree, but it was info-matish. Any ideas on Palantir? I find in the afternoon, specifically, like you get into power hour, the market's not doing much, like AMD's now giving me a setup, but Palantir, it's, like if you look, so the morning breakout happened. Since then, they kind of held VWAP, then it didn't, then it was under VWAP, then it wasn't. It is the definition of what the heck is going on up here. It's just range bound. The only thing that's been pretty clean since the open long would be to short the top. That's about it. So I don't really have any ideas on Palantir. Otherwise, like if you have ideas on Palantir, you're trading Palantir. Daily basis, 51 million in volume, does volatility, like you're in it if you got an idea. And to me, at the open, you had to pick the horse that you're gonna go with in this market. As I said earlier, I picked Rocket Labs. That is what it is. It worked. Fine, but Palantir seems to be just dancing around, diddling in the middle. And maybe SoundHound's not going to go, but it gave me, like SoundHound is trading cleanly off VWAP a second time. That gives me a reason to get into the trade. I just don't see a reason to get into Palantir at all. Oh my goodness. The chat is undefeated. If you can't ram it, dodge it. I like that one. I do like that one. Greg Morehouse. Pick your horse is the way to go. We actually were discussing this again with Nimrod. At the open, there's only so much you can see at the open, right? So, and I was explaining like why I missed some, okay, there's a couple of things I missed at the open. Well, right away at 9:30, almost said Roblox, Rocket Labs was breaking out. So that's it. Like you can have a million setups, but if the first thing that happens is a high volatility name pops into your blotter as a breakout trade, well, that's where you're at. And that's it. What are you going to do? This is now your trade. So I could be sitting there looking for the trade desk short off the open, but something else popped into my blotter. So it was the trade desk. We miss an opportunity to get in the trade desk. You get really lucky that it pops into VWAP and then holds VWAP for a secondary trade, but you got to back your horse. You throw your ideas out there, and the first one to hit at 9:30, you might just get punched into a trade. And maybe it's your secondary trade. Maybe you wanted something else better, but now you've got to manage the bigger one. And of course, the trade desk is going down again. This thing is incapable of catching a bid. Let's go to Adair.
So to let you guys know, we've officially released our TTD research calendar for next week. That's right. Here's all of the earnings and economic events on the docket for next week. There's actually a handful of interesting earnings names. I think Tuesday should be especially interesting. Circle reporting before the bell, CoreWeave reporting after the bell. We also have CPI, PPI, retail sales, and the University of Michigan consumer sentiment. All of that and more. Check out this calendar for all the details you need to know. In about half an hour, I'll be posting the daily calendar for next Monday. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Dara.
Woo! As always. And also get it, Adara. Doing yeoman's work, as always. Join Adara and I in the aftermarket show. We believe we're going to have Steve Talman. We have a lot. It's been a busy week. There's a lot to go over for sure. Someone just said, hey, AMD, it's breaking that trend line you drew. Yes, hasn't closed above it, though. If you just punched it long every single, well, from what I've observed, if you just punch long every single time it breaks the trend or creeps above it, you can find yourself in trouble. Ideally I want it to close over. There are times where in the last minute, it looks like it's gonna close over. I'll get in early. It's a 3-minute chart. So it's held over for a couple of minutes. It looks like it's gonna close breaking the trend line. So I'll just get in a little bit before it actually closes the bar, like right here. This is gonna close in 30 seconds, and it looks like it's starting to pick up steam. So I might get in half here or something like that, and jump in as it's picking up steam, because at this point, it's a very high probability it's gonna now close above. I'm trying to get 8s, it's at 9s. I can go to 10s and get a fill, which means it'll probably print 8s in a second, doesn't really matter. So now I'm anticipating that it's gonna break the trend line. But I wanna give it what I don't want to happen is it breaks the trend, and then before it has a chance to close above, it's already back under. And then what you have is a topping tail wick at the trend line, which is bearish, not bullish. So to me, it's just more bullish of a signal, and there's more people likely trailed out of their shorts or whatever they're using it for to get you this move into the volume weighted average price. So I want to get the rest of these shares at some point, which I'll just try to get them in the teens and see if we can ride this one into the volume weighted average price. While that's happening, it looks like SoundHound's running out of steam. So let me just go over to SoundHound. So SoundHound's coming back into VWAP. I don't want to reload this. It went from 13.65, best fill, 20 cents in the money. I'm not going to let this get back underneath 70. I'm just going to take this one out better than break even. Because if it's moving 20 cents at a time, why am I going to let it drop 15 cents into VWAP? It doesn't make any sense. It makes 0 sense to let it fall that far into the volume weighted average price. So I'm just going to stop it out tight to 1370 here, and then we can roll with advanced micro devices. See if it can't hold this trend, break out and go to VWAP. We'll have to pay attention to this. If it doesn't go right away, in the afternoon you have less time for the trade to work because you got to be flat by the end of the day. And I also have to worry about the imbalances. So there's more you're working with here in terms of timeline. That's a good thing about an early day trend break, is you can sit in it all day long. You get a mean reversal in the first half an hour, you might get to hold it to the close. Here, holding it to the close is not really that much time, so you have less of an opportunity for it to be a big trade. I'm almost, in the afternoon, every reversion is to VWAP. I'm never thinking it's past that if it's in the last half an hour. I'm just getting out of VWAP every single time because there's less time for the trade to work.
Yeah, I like that push as well, Neil, because again, it's kind of showing us that sellers are at VWAP, and if we're breaking a little bit of a short-term trend and just like finding liquidity, I think that VWAP is a great place to find a little bit of turbulence there as well, as it's just shown us over and over again. So if we're going to bid and continue to bid, I think 73.34 that's where VWAP is right now, and you can see how VWAP has interacted over, I guess, across the day here. So holding a little bit of resistance, a little bit of selling happening at VWAP over and over again. Let's see if that can that comes into fruition there. But yeah, I do like that push to take it into sellers at VWAP if it's showing you the right kind of stuff there. But yeah, people in the chat talking about AMD and also MRM, CRML. What is that one? Caramel? CRML?
I go for some caramel.
Critical Metals Group. Caramel not on the Nasdaq exchange. So, all right, Critical Metals. This one, not really doing anything too crazy, man. Just, yeah, average volume here. Relative volume is right there. You can see 1.3, 1.16, so maybe a little bit elevated there on the day, but nothing too crazy happening here on Critical Metal Corps. What's the other one? TMC, the metals company. Let's see if that one's doing anything in sympathy, or is the sector running? No idea. Nothing's happening there as well. I haven't really looked at any of the sectors just yet in the afternoon session. So let's quickly go to the map here. So yeah, let's just pull up a FinViz map and let's take a quick look at what is going on here. So Tesla's pretty strong, Google's pretty strong right here. Volvo Ed can go down. Let's see, what else do we have? Lilly to the downside. We know that's been doing UNH with a bit of a bid. That's coming in at 250. Okay, let's quickly check out UNH on that one, up over 2% on the day today. Let's see, we got MasterCard. MasterCard's up 2.5%. Okay, leading
Why the heck is
sector.
IBM down 3%?
IBM, well, I don't know, man.
That sticks out like a sore thumb.
A lot of it's 3%. Yeah, IBM. Let's take a quick look at a couple of those. So UNH, IBM, I guess, standing out the most. Apple 4%. Obviously, we're watching that one. They're still holding 229s, but IBM.
I like IBM.
No news on IBM. Sorry.
No news on IBM.
I'd almost feel better if there was a reason it was down.
I think it's just continuation, man. This thing's been kind of beat down. We false broke 250, higher time frame. It's been a bit of a trend.
Kind of weak since earnings.
Yeah, look at this trend that we've been in here.
The what?
Trend. So it's the intraday trend that confluences with the higher time frame trend. So the higher time frame, we're downtrending. Intraday, we're also downtrending. So that adds confluence.
I love that.
It's not a term coined by me. It's an SMB term. So shout out to those guys again for all the work you do for the trading community.
What's cool about trading? Yeah. I've been trading a long time, but it's like different floors say different things.
Yeah, different floors say different.
What's interesting, because that's one I've actually never heard.
So if something's trend, like I will maybe risk a little bit more because I'm like, this is bigger picture and this is happening on the day. So it's participants that are
those guys
not just
also
intraday.
The way that people describe like when they swipe the book.
Yeah. Oh, they swipe some books.
It's like it's different, like punch, sweep, swipe.
Yeah.
Like different floors will have different ways of saying the exact same thing. I always find that hilarious because you're all doing the same. And usually most of the lingo is going to be the same. But we got to get to a super chat, and it makes me smile. Viking Therapeutics, get copy paste, buy the smile. Buy the smiley face, everybody. Although, in my opinion, I bought it because I think they're getting bought out, not because they think they're a takeout target and it's a smiley face, so why not? So I did buy it. I think I said this last week that I need, because I was reminded by a viewer that I had said I wanted to look for this to be a buyout. And when you look at, Merck just made a deal. You got the big patent cliff happening. You've got these guys and pretty much everyone in the GLP space full couple of years behind Eli Lilly when it comes to the oral drug. And then on top of that, even if they get it working, they need some cash to be able to get it out their roll. That's just part of the game when you're a smaller name like Viking. So they have a lot of reasons why they would be a bit of a takeout target. And it showed you the rounded bottom. There's your smiley face. I don't need to draw it. Hold a 50 period, consolidation, and now you're post earnings breaking out the 200 period moving average. I love this setup. Candidly, I'm in it, so of course I'm going to say that. But I like the momentum going with Vikings, so you got a good one there for sure. And I always want to thank the viewers when they remind us of things that are going. Well, I don't. Oh, we have a neutral candle in there.
Ooh.
I always forget that I actually have it painted. Like when you get a black candle, not red or green, It's a neutral. It's a neutral big volume candle. Well, that's not bullish.
Where's that?
You can put it in your platform. You can just.
But where am I looking at that?
Oh, right here.
Oh, okay.
My volume.
Volume. Okay.
Control. Yeah. But anyways, maybe already trying to reverse. I'm not going to change much of anything on AMD. Like once you get into first resistance, my stop moves to, instead of prior bar, like it's like the current bar or the bar that I got in. So if we lose 171, like 90-ish or so, I'll just jump out of this trade. Not the follow through that I was looking for, unfortunately. That's just how it is. You know, like you can think it's going to go, like it's the same thing as SOUN. Like ultimately not bad. Bounces off VWAP, just not as big as the bounces off VWAP earlier. So in the aftermarket or in the afternoon trade, you kind of get what you get, and you can't be upset. Oh, Havana Woody in the chat. What do you got, Havana? That reminds me, the show was not live at the time, but that smiley face on the pullback on XRP really gave you the comfort, thanks to that wisdom from here. I know Sean was all over XRP. I don't know if you're talking about the same one, but I know Sean was all over that bad boy. Ari Page's brief thoughts on Intel. That's always easy. I'll get to that in a second. I appreciate Trader TV Live. Maximus Decimus Meridius, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for being a viewer. Thank everybody for being a viewer. I appreciate the love there. Trader TV Live is... The whole idea is that trading is hard enough, the markets are hard enough, let's just do it, let's just get it together. You know, we can answer questions and we can all look at things. Regarding my thoughts on Intel, it actually broke away today. Okay. I think this is the first time.
It's been holding that 19.5 pretty well, I think.
I know, but I think this is the first time that I actually got stopped out in the afternoon on Intel. Anyways, like it's just been a situation where you short the first pop and then you short VWAP and it holds all day long. Well, today it kind of went for the VWAP reentry here, like held above VWAP. So I kind of shorted it to that high, and it was a straight turnaround. So today Intel looks like it's bottomed. It's possible to go long this stock and win. Holding this 19, maybe the worst of it's in. It's the first indication today to me that you might be able to start looking for the long. So I think on Monday, I might not be thinking short on Intel anymore. Well, at least temporarily. You know what I mean by that. Like, not forever, but it's held 19. You had, like, come on. The president just said the CEO needs to resign. And they had a bad quarter. And they had a Reuters report talking about production issues. Like, you had all the bad things happen in the last couple of weeks for this stock, and it just held a higher low. I don't know, that tells me there might be a long in here next week. Maybe it's breaking out 20 or above 20 next week, or buying this 19.5 area. If you throw the kitchen sink of bad news and it still doesn't make a fresh low on the 52-week, sometimes you got to start thinking long, even on a stock like this.
Yeah, I think that's important to watch out for, right? And like we talk about, we just said this, when bad news becomes good news, right? That's essentially what you're trying to say there. And it's like it's sold off so much. What
else is it going to do?
And exactly, it's got all the selling is kind of maybe out of it. And we were talking about like long-term kind of investments and stuff like that. Which reminds me, I got to check what Bombardier is doing. But that one was crazy. I remember getting into it 2021, 2020s, being like, all right, well, there's so much selling on this, and any sort of bad news, it's not even selling off even more. It's just met like a bit of a wall. And I think that's always a good look there, especially for something that's long term. And we hear Michael Noss talk about this as well. He talks about the smiley face pattern, right? The rounded bottom. It's like, all right, the selling is pretty much, over an extended amount of time, all the selling kind of comes out of it. Nothing can really break the bid anymore, and it only has one way left to go.
Which is, and there goes SoundHound. So we get out of Sound. Wow, sometimes it's hilarious that sometimes your out is like the literal optimal time to have reversed. But that wasn't the plan. So I did not reverse in SoundHound. I just got out. We said I'm not going to let it break the volume weighted average price. So I got out before it broke VWAP, but you could have just reversed into the short when I got out of it. Not as good of a bounce as before, but at least I finally didn't lose on the stock. Like, it was kind of annoying. Like, I go big hit here, small hit here, then make it back there. So I go 1 for 3 to be flat on the stock, which is fine. And even this one didn't completely work out either, because I still had some shares when it came back through. SoundHound, still like it. We'll talk about this certainly next week as long as it holds 13.5. It still looks pretty good on the daily chart, just kind of giving up the ghost this afternoon. But you know what? The Nasdaq does not want to give it up. Obi?
I mean, I got
we're
long
still
on top of
trending
that
high.
229, but like I'm pieced out.
In front of that buyer?
Yeah, there's a buyer on 229s, right? It just keeps on holding. So I'm like, all right, let me try to stab along. I've already pieced out of a decent chunk of it here, but yeah, if we're going to continue to kind of wash that 229, then I definitely want to stay involved. And if we drop back below, that's fine as well. Just getting out of the last piece right here, so it's within kind of range of that churn on the downside. Funny enough, I'm talking about it and it's cracking that 229. Right, thank you. So there's that 229 buyer again. Every time it kind of comes in, we've been getting a little bit of a pop every time. So yeah, cool, nice. 229 still stays defended. Going into the end of the day, only about 40 minutes, just shy of 40 minutes left until the close. Let's see if buyers stay dominant on the stock today. We know that Apple is trying to push for its all-time highs. It's had a very, very strong day today, and I'm curious to know how much relative volume have we been doing. Okay, so I guess coming into okay, that makes a lot of sense. Once it broke that ATR mark on the day, it started doing above 1 times relative volume. That makes a lot of sense there. And yeah, so Apple on the day. We'll get back to UNH in a second, but this is what I'm talking about. Let's go quickly. I have the relative volume on this chart as well, so go down to a 3-minute. That's what I like to watch. You can see as soon as we start to break some of these levels, this volume starts to come in right here at about 1140, and we start to sustain near high a day and continue to grind up. You see that relative volume starting to pick up, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7. So that's pretty significant for one of the Mag 7 leaders doing 1.7 relative volume on a day where there's no. I mean, sure, you can say there's a few catalysts, bigger picture, maybe the tariff stuff as well. But regardless, there's a bigger picture bid that's been happening. We talk about the 3-bar that's been happening, consolidation leg on Apple, and today is that third part of that move. You can see that consolidation yesterday, nice little gap up, continuation of a strong leg that happened on Wednesday as well. So nice little push, reverting that earnings reaction. So earnings reaction high was that 213, and oh boy, we did sell off for a few days right after pretty decently. But once we reclaim, Neil, we gap up above it yesterday in the after hours, and I was looking for a potential long here as well. The long comes in today after a full day of consolidation. So definitely stuff to watch out for. Oh boy, this 229 is starting to look a little bit weaker here. So I kind of want to just piece out of there, bye-bye, and leave that alone for now. See if that can potentially come in. I did like the short earlier, and if it's going to show me some selling, I do want to stay as nimble as possible, especially going into the last like 30, 40 minutes. That's what I'm talking about. So that's Apple on the day. Beautiful action, decent opportunity. Hopefully you guys had the long. The breakout long was definitely one of the top trades on the day, in my opinion, and so was Google in terms of technical breakouts. But let's take a quick look at UNH. That's the one we were talking about up on the day, a little distinctly different relative to what it's been doing over the past, I guess, a few weeks. Let's go to a higher time frame real quick and see what we're doing off of some of these lows. 234.60s is that low. Day 4 post earnings is where we got that. And a little bit of a sideways chop since then. But you can see bigger picture, Neil, this one's been trending to the downside. So this is that reference low from that first day Huarunk that we had that came in on May 15th. That low is coming in around 247. So we're kind of sideways chopping in and around that low. Looking pretty weak. We saw earlier this week, this little bid that came in intraday was, I think it was the Buffett bid, right? But there was rumors. We saw the initial move happen first, and there was rumors going around that it might be the Buffett bid, and then I think later on, you got the secondary leg after the confirmation for the news that came in being like, okay, yeah, it is Buffett potentially bidding on this, and that's why price action is always king. And oh boy, there come in the sellers, Neil. There come the sellers on Apple coming in at 228.70. So we were talking about that prior low in at 228.5s, and oh boy, that trend break reversion is coming in pretty nicely. So bigger picture, that 230 breakdown, follow through is definitely happening. Let's see if we can break this structure from earlier on Apple. That's sitting right at 228.40s, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just make sure and get specific here. Go down to
while that's happening.
Yep.
This MRM stock is your volume leader. Medirum Healthcare Technologies. 170% to the upside. I just found out about it because you guys are amazing. It wasn't hitting my scanners, but Adair is all over it with the news.
Yeah, sorry, Neil. I was just about to reply to you, then you brought it up, so I'll just say it here. It'll be easier anyway. So this is kind of a weird catalyst. It actually initially came out this morning, but didn't make the watch list because there was so much else moving. MetaROM here, MRM, announcing a collaboration with Hakuhodo to participate in World, which is co-founded and chaired by OpenAI founder Sam Altman. Now, what is World? I looked into it. It's a blockchain. So I guess they're collaborating with this other entity to participate in a blockchain. Interesting catalyst. Clearly, MRM likes it. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Dara, appreciate it. And this one, look, massive volume. That being said, with volume this big, it's a different look from what we usually see on a lot of these like small cap runners, right? Like usually you'll look at it and be like, it's not an upward trend on the daily chart. This actually has been upward trending. I'm zooming it out so that you can look for the bag hole type levels. And one of the big ones, obviously $5, obvious. You could also make a strong argument that it's at one right now at about $3.25 to $3.50. So just be careful with this. We know exactly here's the thing. They're fun, but it's not usually a long time. It's a good time, but not a long time. And anybody that has off like VWAP, even if you've taken like this local breakout here at like 290, you've got 10, 15%. I'm always like bank it. At 330, I'd pretty much never buy one of these up here at 330. Like it's just not in the playbook. I don't know many people that would. You'd have to have an execution strategy that somehow has a really tight stop, which is really tricky for some of these. Come on, I'm gonna just a quick note here on AMD. I'm just not really. Like AMD, it's so slow and the market's not doing much. I'm just gonna move down. I was offering at 60. I'm just gonna move that down to in front of 50 here. It's not going anywhere. So I'm gonna take some out here, probably tighten the stop up to exactly break even, because it's now almost 330. So, it's like you know what or get off the pot kind of time for any kind of a move. So it's going to tighten that up to break even, try to get some out in the mid 40s if we can get that scalp trade. Then we can get the Tracer Austin super chat. Would you hold ETHA or XXRP called options? Farther out expiration dates, I usually sell out of all positions Fridays, but this push seems strong. First, I'm going to hit that. Then we're going to look at the charts. We're going to go, let's go daily chart. Let's go daily chart on ETHA. I actually, look, I do like the ETH breakout. The one thing is, so I'm assuming, let me just read that again. I want to be certain about this. You're not entering along, you're holding along that in theory is in the money. Otherwise, why would you be asking the question through the breakout? Generally speaking, 99 times out of 100, if I'm swinging long anything into the high, the whole point is to have done it, taken profit, and hold through. Because if you, to me, it's like, what is the other reason for getting involved in anything which is legging into a breakout? It's so that you can benefit from the breakout. So typically that's what I do. I'm not an options trader, however, so I can't get into the minutia of, I don't know what your position is. And so in terms of managing it, all I can tell you is if I'm in a long like this in any kind of a swing, and I've taken some profit already into the high, I'm absolutely holding to benefit from the high break, if that's at all possible or reasonable at that point. As far as choosing whether you like, we might not have XXRP in our platform, so I'm just going to go over to TradingView for you. Because that's sometimes we don't have all the leverage products. It's just that simple. Anything is like a 2x or 3x. It's not a given that it's going to be in our platform. This is very different. Yeah, that's not a hold for me. Did you actually just mean XRP?
Guess what?
Maybe, let me know. Did you actually mean XRP in general? What is going on here? No, that's not what I wanted. Come on, TradingView. Or did I just?
Sorry, you got to type in XRP USD.
Yeah, that's what I did. That's my bad. I don't always.
I usually just go to the Coinbase one.
No, Austin says I use Bitstamp, but it doesn't really matter. There you go. If you meant this, and that's an if, I don't know if this is what you meant, but if you meant just XRP, and that's why we get out of AMD flat, I'll get there in a second. If you just meant XRP, then yeah, same thing. If I'm long something into the high, then I'm a hold through the high break. Now, which one would I choose? Well, ETH looks technically better. That's simple. So I take ETH over XRP because it's imminently breaking the high and XRP isn't. So I try to be very simple. If you watch the show, I am very simplistic and very binary with my strategies. Like if I'm choosing between one or the other, and they're both longs, I'm doing the one that's more bullish in the chart. I don't let any nuance or personal opinion about which I think is, which one do I want to hold for the long term? No, it's a trade, it's a swing trade. Which one looks technically better? That's all I care about. And unfortunately, AMD was right to maybe want to get out of this, but I didn't get the other leg out, so I just got out break even. So we got to put a break even stop. Market looks like it could be rolling over here. Let's go back to Adara.
Another update in the search for the new Fed chair. As of a couple days ago in a CNBC interview that would be on Tuesday morning, Donald Trump indicated that he and his team had narrowed down the Fed chair candidacy to 4 individuals. He specifically said that both Kevin Warsh and Kevin Hassett were in the running. He did not specify who the other 2 members were, though he narrowed, he basically said no to Scott Bessent. Now, apparently, according to Wall Street Journal, Trump's team is expanding their search for the Fed chair, and they're adding new names to the list. We'll have to see what names end up getting added. But either way, the market dropping here, not sure if this is related, but we do have Wall Street Journal reporting that apparently the list of potential Fed chair candidates could be getting a bit longer. Back to you.
It's getting spicy for sure, Dara. I know you're.
Too spicy.
How is it too spicy? No. How is it too spicy?
Okay, I mean, we know I don't like spice, but all jokes aside, I'm like, at a certain point, you narrowed it down to 4. Now, why are you re-expanding it? I think what concerns me, Neil, is that the sense of the trajectory, the trend line, if you will, for this search for the Fed chair is getting real choppy.
So here's the thing. As a trader, you have to separate. The market likes certainty. As if you run a business, you want certainty. If you're an investor, you want certainty. All that kind of stuff. Like, it's all well and good. If you're a day trader or a short-term trader, you got to be real about this. I know this is not a cool thing to always say, but you want some chaos and you want some volatility. And I say this, and I will tell you this right now. Sean can tell you the same thing, and anybody that traded during 08 can tell you the same thing. Almost anybody that traded during the financial crisis is going to turn around and tell you they had their best year or one of their best years. It was hands down, the only way to describe it was you were making money and it wasn't fun. Because what was happening is you would go home at the end of most of your days happy because you had a good trading day and like everything was bad in the world. And so you'd go sit at the dinner table or talk to friends and family, and it was your best as everyone's worst. So trust me, I get that. At the same time, as a day trader, that kind of chaos can be good for us, and that's why we like these kinds of markets, or just short-term swing traders, whatever it might be. But trust me, I get it. It's not always fun. There are times when the market's tanking and you're short, and you're not doing any celebration dances. I tend to be a little bit more reserved anyways, but trust me, I get it. But you have to want that. You want that volatility. Like when we have a rate decision, I prefer if it's at 99%, that's kind of boring. It's more exciting when it's a contested decision. Maybe that's not what the market wants. Maybe that's not what businesses want, but that's what traders want. Yeah. Because that's where you get more excitement. Exactly. And that's where you get more opportunity. Maybe you win, maybe you lose, but the chance is bigger, and that's all we're looking for. So if I get excited for a little bit of chaos, it has everything to do with what is better for trading. That's all.
Yeah.
Just don't get me wrong.
I think, again, I follow a lot of awesome traders on Twitter and YouTube, and I think Lance Brightstein, he posted a video recently talking about what is the purpose of a trader, kind of what do we actually do? Because a lot of people are like, day traders shouldn't be in the market, like you do whatever, and he describes it really well. He's like day traders are kind of like janitors. We clean up the mess. There's mispricing. We'll be there to fix that. You know what I mean? So I think it's a beautiful way to put it. And that chaos and that volatility is great for us because we're like, there's probably a lot of mispricing that comes along with that chaos. And if we're here to clean up, that's opportunity for us.
I'll tell you right now, when I said that about 08, and I can only speak to my experience. What I will tell you is this. Sean and I had our trading floor at that time. We made a lot of our money being on the bid when no one, we made a lot of money bounce longs on stocks, catching bids on stocks. I'm just being real because we couldn't short a lot of stuff. At the time, there were a lot of restrictions on short selling. Man, this market's starting to come back in here. There was a lot of restrictions on what you could short and what you couldn't. So we had to find places to buy the banks, and that was your best trade sometimes. And someone had to be on the bid. The financial crisis, whether it was that or whether it was a flash crash or mini flash crashes, we do that all the time. When there was the AP Twitter account got hacked, and there was this was years ago, AP Twitter account got hacked, and some lie about an explosion at the White House was getting proliferated, and the market was dropping. I was yelling out to the trading floor, "This is BS, only one source," and guys were on the bid. So like that's what day traders do sometimes. They make a market when the market makers pull,
Exactly.
and that's our alpha. Like we make some money off of that. Let's go. By the way, when I was saying the market rolling over, but I was looking at AMD go down. Maybe the market's not doing that much, but AMD is continuing its trend back into the downside.
All right, guys, traders, listen up. First month free. That's right. We're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder, and upgrade to Elite. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform, it's everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predict with backtesting, reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips. All in one platform. Don't miss out and execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code or check the link in the description for our friends at eSignal there. 229's maybe coming back here on Apple. And I'm just reading what you guys are saying in the chat, and I think, somebody had a reply, Joe Schmo saying that's a nonsensical argument. It's a rationalization for profiting in the market.
I just posted a response to that.
Yeah, well, dude, I don't agree with you at all, but no, go for it.
My response
without
is,
day traders, the market would be a mess.
No, well, I don't know. So I understand why you say the janitor analogy. What I think day trading is all about is liquidity.
Yes, we provide liquidity.
Day traders provide liquidity. Remember, most day traders lose money, right? So the overwhelming majority of day traders are losing money to provide liquidity to the market. And oftentimes, I think it's more important, like it used to be you had physical market makers that were traders. In the NYSE, they were on the trading floor. And over the years, since I started, it's like a straight line up, like the S&P goes up in a straight line, the amount of market making done by algorithms goes up, right? And so I think day trading has been a more important source of liquidity the higher the amount of algorithmic market making is taking place. Again, that's just me, and that's just my opinion. It doesn't, and at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. The markets, your job, if you're in the markets, you're in the markets to make money for yourself. And at the end of the day, that just means you need to know and observe the rules and make the most money you can based upon those rules. And if they change the rules, you change your behavior. That's the best way to look at it. At the end of the day, that's one thing everybody can agree upon that. Like the only thing I'll frown upon are people that break the rules. Like I've said it before. Sean and I, when we couldn't short a lot of stuff in 2008, there were firms that were illegally short selling, and you lose traders to those firms. No, did we break the rules? No. Did other people do that? Yes. Did we lose traders to the firms that were giving that opportunity? Absolutely we did. But chickens came home to roost. Those firms went out of business because eventually the regulators got them, and then you had traders come back. And truth be told, I know traders that traded at firms like that never got their final payouts. So I'm happy that I've been trading since 2003, and I've never missed a payout. There was never a payout I couldn't get, and that's why you want to be with a firm that's following the rules. Shout out to Real Trading for that reason specifically. I'm never worried about my commission coming through at the end of the month, but I've known traders that have had that worry before, and you want to make sure that you get your money. It's that simple, right? That's why people got mad at Robinhood because they couldn't execute. Or it's just, at the end of the day, you want to be able to execute, you want to be able to do what you do, and you want to be able to get your cash out when you want to, and that's about it. Oh, come on, Joe Ventura. Really? Check the chat. 2003, did they have electricity then?
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, fine. Yeah, it's a long time ago. I mean, Sean's been around since 2002. Rag on that. See? A full year longer. Anyways, yes, of course, electricity.
Joe Schmo, I understand.
You did have to. Sometimes you actually physically would call
Yeah.
call the gateway or call the broker about a fill. Like it was
Yo.
straight up.
Do they honor your time in the order? That's my question always. Like, hey, like, how do you honor that? Be like, I traded and I submitted this order at this price, but now it's trading at a different price. You have to honor my price at the time I placed the order.
Most of the gateways are pretty good. They were
good
pretty
with that?
good. Yeah,
Okay,
they're pretty
that's
good. But there were times like
they
a
don't really care.
major gateway
Yeah.
would go down and everybody's trying to call them.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there trying to get through because you want to get the status of your orders. What can you cancel? What's filled? It's like, it was a different world, man. And no, I don't have a page.
Game's always changing. Right?
No, I don't.
And you have to stay adaptive. That's what it is. Like, yeah, HFTs came into the market, and a lot of people have issues with HFTs. But here's the thing: you can either have issues, or you can work around it and continue, doing what you're doing, and still continue to profit from the market. And Neil is a great example. Like he's saying, he's been in the game for how many years, and still consistently takes home a paycheck. So it's just like, all right, well, you really have to learn from that and observe. Be like, all right, the game has definitely. Oh, of course it does, dude. I'm losing hair like crazy. And you know what I realized? I was like, maybe that's the indicator. It's like, if you're on the right path, you better be losing some hair at least, unless you got like amazing genetics.
Okay, first of all,
different.
yeah, I would just rather.
Some of the best traders I know, they're bald. Come on.
I would just rather have the genetics where I don't lose my hair. Thank you very much. And I would, actually, first of all, no, that's not even the point.
Imbalances.
I do have the genetics. My brother has. If you saw my bro, he still has a full afro. Like
He doesn't trade, though.
Do whatever he wants,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
Big old
okay.
beard, no gray hair. And he's my older brother, by the way.
Oh, boy.
No, but why? I'll tell you why. I've said this a million times. There's something to be said about doing what you love.
Oh, yeah.
That being said,
Yeah.
there's
That
something to be
matters,
said about
longevity, yeah.
doing the thing that you would be doing if you weren't working. My brother's an artist. Like, he does the thing that if you didn't have to work, he'd be doing what he's already doing.
That's perfect,
If
yeah.
there was no such
That's
thing
how it
as a
should be.
job, that is like he would
Exactly
just
how
be
it should
making cool stuff on a computer that looks awesome. That's what my brother does. So that's why he has no gray hair. He's got the best life ever. I'm a really shit artist. So I'm such a bad artist that when I take a picture of my daughter and like I'll put in a group chat or whatever, and it's like we have a chat with our family, like my brother will be like, yo, Neil took that picture of Aaron, right? Instead of my wife. I'm like, is it really that bad? Because I just don't have an eye for that stuff. I'm not good at it. Good with numbers, I'm really terrible with everything else.
I'll be fully honest, and I think Patel in the chat is saying, am I gonna lose hair soon? Bro, I'm already losing hair. The bun, let me give you guys who are balding a pro tip. If you can grow your hair out and you have a bald spot at the back, go for the man bun, because when you tie it up, even your barber will be surprised as to what you're able to fugaze. So that's all I'm gonna say. But eventually, there will come a time where I will have to cut this off, and it's coming faster and faster, Neil. But it's okay. It's all right. I don't really care. It's part of the process.
It's
part
all
of the process. What's up, Adara?
It's all in the game.
We're just going to take a look here at our earnings calendar for Monday, because there's a ton of retail favorites reporting on Monday after the bell. We have Monday.com also reporting on Monday morning, but Plug Power, Archer Aviation, Big Bear AI, AMC, AST Space Mobile, and Oklo, they are all reporting after the bell on Monday. Get the details. Check this out on X at TTV Research. And again, you can also check out my giant Starbucks master post on X at TTV Research right now as well. Back to you.
AMC, what is dead may not die.
Oh boy.
Or maybe it is still dying. It's up 4% today. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm happy for the apes when the stock goes up. Look at that. Oh, that was a good trade.
Cancel? Why you
Oh,
cancel?
well, not really. But why is it zooming? I wanted to stay zoomed in so it actually looks not bad. Yeah, look at this whole $2.80 and give you 12 pennies. Shout out to AMC. I know the dead one that woke up is not AMC. The dead one that woke up today is Apple. Like, here's the thing. AMC goes up 4%, and you're like, wow. No one's saying wow. Apple goes up 4%. You see you're long it because Apple is amazing.
Oh,
Congratulations.
yeah. Opportunities both ways.
It's flying here, man. It's flying.
Like we said, if it's gonna chop into a range, I do want to get involved because I'm like, all right, well, I feel like it's gonna hit the highs if we're gonna hold support a little bit. We false broke this prior low that I was talking about at the 8/2s, and we tried to sell off, and we couldn't sell off. So I was like, all right, well, if you're gonna show me that we can't sell off, and we've been strong all day, then why not get into a little bit of a push going into the end of the day? So I pieced off of a lot of it into 229s because that's what I was looking for, but only about 4 minutes left until these imbalances come out, Neil, and market's taking a bit of a bounce back here. Maybe a pullback into 23,700 here on the Nasdaq, but oh boy, 22920s. Eesh. You know what? It is what it is. I'm going to hold on to this. Let's see if 228s come in. I have absolutely nothing but breadcrumbs left on this one, just taking a little bit of a rep for taking some inventory into the close on a strong ticker. Yeah, I like the short 230. I didn't hold it to 288 halves, but that's what I was looking for, right? I was like, let's see if it gets down to 228 halves. So we did get down there, and we failed to follow through. So I like the long. So reason to buy, reason to sell. I
Before
think,
imbalances,
yeah.
We got a super chat and a good question. PGH, I see your question. We'll get to that. We'll go to the super chat first. Do we get a double top for the Qs and the Nasdaq? We talking? Look, let's just go. Are we talking daily? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you don't actually have to hit the high for it to be a double top. Like if we turn here and never get to the high, that's effectively a double top. I tend to think, like I assume the trend is the trend until proven otherwise. Like I'm not anticipating a double top on the Qs. However, my approach to it is if we do a reversing candle, then I'm playing some shorts after that. You know, I let it happen, and then it's like a whole mean reversion. You let it happen, and then you get in. I don't say I'm 100%. We're going to stop at this line, so I'm going short. The Qs are at a top. Let's sell some stuff. That's never my approach. So like it's just not what I do. What I usually would say is if I'm in something where I'm fearing the top, like I said with GEV, I just put a trail on it. You know, so we're closing under 650 today on G Vernova. I'm fearing that we're at a top, so I'm getting out. With this, it's inevitably closing under 650, so I'm going to be taking some out on this stock. Unless something crazy happens in the last 10 minutes here, that's my approach to it. So I don't try to predict that it's going to happen. I just like to react to the price action as stated. And there was a question in the chat, what our favorite trading-related books are. I've only ever answered one way to this. I still firmly answer one way. My favorite trading book that if I'm suggesting what you should read, it's not even necessarily a book about trading, but it's a book about decision making and analyzing your decisions that are probability based. And it's Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. Annie Duke is a poker player. But it's the process of evaluating your decisions, not based on outcomes. Think of it this way. If you buy a stock at $100 and it goes down to $50 and then goes up to 110 and you sell it for a 10% profit, did you win? Yes. Did you make a good decision? What do we think? Probably not. If I go all in with deuce 7 versus aces pre-flop, and I happen to suck out, did I make a good decision? No. Did I win? Yes. So thinking in bets is more about the process of how you evaluate your decisions, which I think is super crucial to a trader. Because if the only way that you evaluate your decisions is, did I make money on this trade? Well, then if you did something statistically terrible to make that money, you're just going to do it again, and in the long run, it's going to lose you money. And that's the problem a lot of traders have, is they'll do something that works in a couple of instances. They're like, oh, this is great, let's leverage it up. But really, it's not actually a winning strategy. And if you're evaluating the decisions in a more meaningful or more thoughtful manner, then you might see where that happens. That's why I'm always looking at the risk to reward versus a trade. Like if I make a winning trade, the way I think about it is, well, what would have happened if it lost? And so I look at this, and if my exits on Apple weren't enough profit, like my average out here on the move was about 60 cents, was my average out. And my original stop was this bar here, which is like the quarter. So I was risking about 28 to 30 cents. and I took it all out 2-to-1. So I can say to myself, yeah, okay, that was a good decision. It still worked out. Now, if my stop was the high of the day, I was risking $1 and my average out was 60 cents, then I don't think that was a good trade. I think that was, it made money, but it was a bad trade. So you have to be able to think of it that way sometimes. The imbalances just came out there and I was rambling, but there's nothing much, except for SBET is a sell of 1.8 million. That might matter. Rivian's a sell of 1 million. NVIDIA's only 1 million to buy. That's not much of anything. But SBET, on the other hand, that is a name, well, it's not even moving. 75 million shares is probably why. SBET's done 75 million. So that imbalance of 1.8 is 1.8 million shares into 75 million shares, which might explain why it's not moving around that much. The overall market, 50 million to sell. Nasdaq, 228 to buy. Mag 7, 133 to buy. Incredibly mixed. That gives you a nothing burger feel for the imbalances. I hope that helps you. And again, I think it's, even though I explained kind of the theme behind the book, I still think it's a really good read if you're a trader. Heck, if you're a poker player, it probably doesn't hurt either. I like poker. Played a lot of online poker.
There's one I was recommended last year, which really kind of brought a very strong perspective to my trading journey, and again, not necessarily trading related, but it's a very short book as well. The Gap in the Gain.
The Gap
in the Gain. I think it was recommended to me by a few different people, but yeah, I finally got around to reading it. I think mid to end of last year, and absolutely solid. That's the one. I have the ebook for it, but the Gap in the Gain, absolutely beautiful book there as well.
So look, I just Googled it, so because I like.
Yeah.
Anyone tells me like what's the title and the author so that you get it right. Yeah. That's why I say by
Dan Sullivan.
So this one by Dan Sullivan. The Gap in the one you're talking about, The Gap in the Gain. I'm kind of like this, and there's an ebook to it.
There's an ebook, yeah. I think the free ebooks on Kindle or something.
You're now watching me live email this to myself like an old head, so I can probably pick that up. I like listening to ebooks on my.
I think we might have.
I can add this to my train ride
as well. We might have a physical.
There's a copy of that book here on the floor?
Maybe. I think because Wayne was reading it.
I think people took all those ones when the floor moved. Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Brinkles has some of them, yeah.
All right, I'm just going to email that to myself.
Yeah, no, that's a great one there as well. And Apple seems to be holding that 229 going into the last few minutes of the day. I'm still kind of long my breadcrumb, but nothing too crazy. Just again for the reps, the market caught a little bit of a bid, so we are continuing that trend, that uptrend into the close, higher highs, higher lows, as well, especially on the Nasdaq. I'm just curious to know if 230s will print going into the end of the day. I know a lot of people. We talked about that 230. Was it 230? No, we were talking about 200. Chain on Google. Google is poised to close above 200 here. 230 could be very interesting on Apple as well, with that aggressive kind of push going into the end of the day. There, what's Sharif getting?
Oh no, Sharif and Ram and Ramin, which is hilarious because they always act like they're at arms. They've been killing it on socials, and they're a good social team, yet they act like they hate each other, but they love each other. And they're
the drums.
They're like, it's like brother and sister.
Yeah.
The what? You can't see.
It gets the people going.
No, what hate? Everybody loves Ramin. You guys, it's all love for sure, but that's all it was. It's a new video. So make sure you check out Sharif on socials. Sharif, you guys missed Sharif breakdancing.
Really?
When was
this?
he was breakdancing in front of the green screen, but they didn't. Did you get it on camera? Okay,
yeah.
so
all right, Sharif's about to bust a move.
Andre said that he got him on camera, but he's gonna do it right now.
He's gonna do one right now.
All right, now.
Cool. In front of the green screen. Let's go. Oh boy, what was that?
You got this.
All right, cool.
You got this.
Oh.
You got this.
Let's go. Nice.
Let's go. My bad. I didn't mean to curse.
He said, "Let's flip."
Hey, man, that's what I'm talking about.
Good stuff.
You got to get it done. You got to get it done. The other thing that you got to do too, we have special things all over the place. We're talking about books. We're doing some breakdancing. Well, here's another thing we got going on, everybody.
Oh, boy.
We can check out Trade the Pool for swing trading, which we've mentioned, but they got something new, and it's just for traders. A free ebook featuring 4 proven swing trading strategies from Trade the Pool's top funded traders. Inside, you'll see exactly how they approach the markets, how they manage risk, and what setups they rely on so you can learn and grow from what actually works. Download it by scanning the QR code on screen or hitting the link in the description, and you can swing the way to your success. That is, first of all, the thing that impresses me the most is Sharif obviously, works out a little bit.
A little bit.
No, but like
Perhaps.
his mobility.
It's a rumor.
No, but his mobility is through the roof. Like I'm small, but it hurts watching you do that. Like the back hurts.
Oh, yeah.
The hip hurts.
Yeah.
The knee hurts. My elbow hurts. I don't know why my elbow hurts doing that. I think it's because I was throwing too much at practice yesterday for the kids. But actually, my elbow does hurt a little bit because I was throwing too much at practice for the kids. But that's what you do. But I can't break dance, that's for sure. Shout out to you, Sharif.
That was great,
moves,
dude.
man.
You gotta show me some of those moves. The 1-2 step, dude. Yeah.
The 1-2 step?
The 1-2 step.
Because Obi still hits the clubs.
I mean, you already know.
I'm just saying.
Catch me outside.
Catch him outside. Catch Adara at the desk.
Catch Trump heading into the Azerbaijan and Armenian peace summit. It's just starting now. He just walked in. In cases we couldn't get any crazier, we do have more comments from Donald Trump, who's just taking a seat as we speak. And back to you.
Thanks, Adara. Appreciate it. We only have 3 minutes to go. But you know what? We don't only have 3 minutes to go. Why? Because we still have the market recap after the show.
Boy.
Myself and Adara will be chilling. We'll be talking. We'll answer some questions. We'll get Steve on. We'll overlook what an unbelievable week it's been. Oh, come on, AMD. Seriously?
AMD. Okay. All right.
Now it goes.
Now it's trying to go.
Now AMD goes to the upside. After all day long, AMD gets green, and it's too late. That's just how it is.
Too late to apologize.
That's fine. I bet you did SoundHound go too? Did SoundHound go as well? No, it didn't. Okay, well that one was a good out. That was at least a better out because it's not going any further. 26% for SoundHound today and holding the range as well. Gorev hung on to that trade, so it survived your stop. That's the other. So Gorev. The good thing about early breakouts, like if that didn't happen at the end of the day, then when you take some profit, the old trend line, if it holds a new trend line, and you don't, let's say you're stopping out under here and it holds, then you can add right there. Like right here where it's breaking out again. You're now getting in at a better price and your stop's down there anyways. But it's a little bit late in the day for that. With 2 minutes to go, thank you for filling in for Sean. Sean made a cameo in the chat. He said, what's up to everybody? I'm going to mosey on. I'm going to weasel my way up to the desk.
Oh, boy.
But I'm not going to breakdance my way up to the desk because if I did, I wouldn't know, but I wouldn't make it to the desk because I would literally break something.
Oh, that's what you mean. Emphasis on the break.
You crazy?
On the breakdance.
I can't do that stuff.
Thank you, Neil, for another awesome day. It is a Friday, guys, and oh boy, the market's not open for another 2 days. So makes me sad sometimes. I kind of don't like the weekends, but I love the weekend, though. The weekend is actually here in Toronto once again this weekend. Not going to the concert, though, but yeah. Solid opportunities on the day. We saw some crazy opening drives. Apple technical breakout, Google technical breakout. I was involved with both those stocks. You can kind of go back and take a look at those in the couple of minutes that we have left. If you guys want to go back and look at that 198 on Google. Look at the structure that was forming at 198. I was very gung-ho about the breakout yesterday. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to take all the inventory through. Doesn't come in yesterday, that's perfectly fine. I'm definitely involved with it today, and I did get aggressive, but I was a little tilty because I did not take enough through that 200, got a little reversion, eventually started working, so a little bit of I would say mischief, getting a little too aggressive on the front side of the move, but when the backside does come in, I did get involved pretty nicely for the reversion to VWAP, but VWAP held pretty well. Apple as well, technical breakout, 220s holding and breaking out of that higher multi-month range high that we were talking about earlier on as well, so that one was absolutely crazy. The market as well, maybe pushing for some fresh highs, so hopefully you guys hopefully had an awesome day, an awesome week. Sean will be back next week on Monday, and I got to time this timer just right, just like I got to do a little bit better with timing some of my trades here, but 10. Thank you, Adara, for the bell once again, and all the news that you give us as well. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thank you very much there. guys. So I'll see you guys around. I'll be in, I think, a few days next month. So I'll see you guys around then. But hopefully, next week. Oh, Joe's saying next week, buddy. I asked you for next week. All right, no. Okay, all right. Listen, I got to check the schedule, bro. I got to check the schedule. You know, listen, whatever it is, I will provide the liquidity. I will provide the liquidity. That reminds me, we're probably doing towers tonight. All right, so anyways, without any further ado, I think they're ready for us at the big desk, so don't go anywhere. We got Neil, we got Adara, and we got the market recap. I don't know if Ramin's ready, but I think she is. So take it easy, guys. Have a good one. Have a great weekend. Study up.
Thank you very much, Obi. The market recap brought to you by Beta Pro, by Globex, and brought to you by Team Ramin. Everybody is on the ones and twos. Look, it's been a wild day. It's been a wild week. No question about it. We actually, this is a rarity. There is a name that's reporting earnings on a Friday after market.
It's a notable one.
It is a big one. It is Coors. Now, if you remember this, Coors is there's a deal to be bought by CoreWeave, right? So Coors is being bought by CoreWeave. So if the deal goes through, in theory, it doesn't really...
So I'm just making a face of something Trump just said.
Oh, okay, we'll get to that in a second. If the deal goes through, it doesn't necessarily matter what the earnings are, but there is a bit of a battle right now by a major shareholder trying to block the Coors deal. So the earnings are going to matter if that deal doesn't go through. And apparently, the president is talking now?
Yeah, this is allegedly the Azerbaijan and Armenian peace agreement summit or something, but he just said, so I think what he meant to say was, he's talking to Chris, right, Energy Secretary.
Okay.
I think what he meant to say was the energy space, Chris, is very fertile. What it sounded like is that he said Chris was very fertile. So that is why I laughed out loud, and I do apologize, but that just happened.
Why not? All in good fun.
I actually tripped.
That's how we got. Look, first of all, it was a bit of a happy accident why we got to thank you, Adara, which is fine.
Right? He does this all the time.
You know, I see it right here. Joe Schmo in the chat. Maybe Chris is fertile. Maybe that's just how it is, and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. That is perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong with the market. It is perfectly fine. Why? Because it's a bull market. And bull markets are good because stocks go up, we're all happy, except for the hedgies that shorted on the way up, and that just gives us more juice for things to break out. We're closing the Qs pretty close to that all-time high, maybe not quite, but this was on the back of whom? Apple. Today, it was Apple's day. Apple broke out in a big way, and what's interesting about this last little rally in Apple, didn't really give you much good after the earnings, but we knew 500 bill was going to get spent. Yeah. We knew this. This rally is because there's an extra 100 on top. But what it really meant was that out of the crosshairs, Tim Cook had an opportunity to go in front of Trump, say, hey, you know what? We're not going to build iPhones here because that's just not going to happen in any reasonable amount of time. But here's what we are doing and here's what we can do to appease things. And Trump was like, cool. And now Apple's going higher. So Apple now has a clear path to try to run to those heights. We got a ways to go. We got a clear path to finally get there. Apple getting off the schneid. A good reason why this market was so strong today.
Yeah, well, I actually just saw it. I reposted on X at True Social. This is X at True Social. I'm tired. X at TTD Research. So, Neil, did you know apparently this is Apple's best week since July 2020? 13% gain.
Really?
Yep, and that's per Financial Juice, which is a source I trust. Other people are spreading this too. It's pretty sad when your best week in 5 years is 13%.
That can't be. No, that's seriously?
That's what I'm seeing multiple sources reporting that.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I believe it, honestly.
No,
it's not a stock that moves much intraday.
Yeah,
and if you think about it on earnings, it's the least exciting. Except for this year, it's actually pretty good on earnings. Usually it's not that exciting on earnings. So yeah, that is what I wanted to talk about, that situation. Corzed is not really moving. Trump's saying that the world's on fire. I don't know if it's in a good way or a bad way. We're waiting here for CORZ. Yeah, I want to talk about my Eli Lilly trade if I can after we get the Core Scientific earnings, because that was fun. That was definitely by far my best stock of the day. But I think it's just, I'm realizing this week's stock selection is one of the biggest things that I think it really matters when it comes to taking these trades, especially if you have stock selection and you're doing your playbook and it's setting up. Like OB always says confluence.
Yes.
I feel like that lesson I really learned in a real way this week. So shout out to the week of trading. Now we're having some other individuals talk. These are the presidents of Armenia and Azerbaijan. Well, Trump is sitting at the table still. I'm waiting for core
Yeah, they're not out yet, but just very quickly, there was another thing, big theme today, and that was the move in ETH, really. Ethereum with a big break, and off the back of that, you had BMNR and you had SBET doing substantial volume. I know Joey Options was all over the long in ETH. BMNR, it didn't lose trend until, that's literally the last 15 minutes of the day. This finally broke trend. Wild. Unbelievable rally. ETHA, which, of course, the ETH ETF holds up very well the entirety of the day. This is what I was talking about earlier. Remember I was saying, watch out for these ancillary plays, because all you had was a topping tail candle on ETH that held support, and then BMNR lost support on that. So like the move down is going to be more harsh. Hey, it works both ways. You're going to get more bang for your buck when you take the long in those bad boys, but it also works in both directions. So nice little day here for ETH. Obviously, that's going to be big, but it wasn't all good everywhere. We had in the trade desk closed close to the lows, almost 40% down for the trade desk. We had a lot of movers on earnings this week, but this was the one that really took the cake to the downside. And it wasn't like it seemed all that bad with TTD at the end of the day. It just, the market really punished them. And sometimes it's a comparisons game, right? And when we have a chance to choose between stronger names out there, it's one little sign of weakness and you're going to get absolutely punished. And I feel like it was a little bit overdone, but it doesn't matter what I think.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but I think the thing is too is TTD. I'm going to take kind of a different take on this. TTD was added to the index unpopularly. We had Robinhood, we had AppLovin. Neither of them made the cut. Robinhood is near all-time highs or at all-time highs. AppLovin is getting closer and closer, and yet TTD comes here with meh earnings. I understand the frustration. I actually think that's why Coinbase tanked as much as it did too. Because Neil, how are you in the S&P 500? First, I don't know why I'm clutching this napkin with emphasis, but how are you just added to the S&P 500, an index which notably requires you to make profit, and the only reason you profited is because Circle IPO'd? Make that
not your core business.
Sense.
Not your core business.
I have a huge issue with that.
You know what else? The funny thing about Coin is the kiss of death with that JP Morgan deal.
Right?
They literally got a deal with team up with JP Morgan, and then, flip a switch, Coinbase is going down now. So you team up with the biggest, most successful bank in the world and tankage. Meanwhile, Robinhood doesn't get into the S&P 500. And you know what's dirty about that Hood thing? What's dirty about Robinhood was that after earnings, we were all like, why wasn't this going up on earnings day? Everything was great, and it just refused to go. Well, you know what? Eventually, they couldn't hold it down any further, and Robinhood, another high. It just keeps going and going and going. And I'm like I've already said it. I want to be in this name, and I can't buy it up. I'm just not going to buy it up here. I'm waiting for a pullback. But I don't want it to pull back for everyone that's in it. It's a selfish thing, so it is what it is. I just hope it runs forever for everybody and keeps dragging up things like SoFi along with it. You take what you can get, and you try not to be upset. There was another story that maybe doesn't matter. Might not matter to everybody. Can I even pull up FN? I don't know if I can pull up. I can. FNMA. So Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. It was said at the beginning. When President Trump won the election, this is something that has been possibly coming for a while, but they're looking to IPO them. And you got that news earlier in the day and a big spike up. Let me go to a 3-minute of what happened on this stock, because the story being that they're looking to go back to the market with an IPO with Fannie and Freddie. That happened right in the middle of the session, and a huge spike. These are spicy names when they start running. So we'll see how this plays out, but that was a big story in the middle of the day that moved the market. Not everybody can trade the OTC, I get it, but big opportunity there as well.
I just want to see Bill Pulte ring the bell at the exchange. I'm kind of joking, I'm kind of not, but we know he's been extremely active on X, to put it very mildly, to the point where he was saying, oh, they reported, I'm seeing reports that Jerome Powell is leaving the Fed, and he said that, and then no one could find the reports. It seems like he started it himself, and then said people are saying it. So he's an interesting individual. He's currently leading Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So I think either way, it'll be pretty exciting. I don't know why, but I for some reason I expect Bill Ackman to comment at this too, and I don't know why I think this, but this man always has interesting takes on things, so I would like to hear his takes. Clearly, I'm on Financial X far too much. I'm still not seeing Core Z earnings, guys. I do apologize. Someone in the chat, I believe Danny's boy, was telling me that there were some other names reporting tonight as well. One of them I think is not actually reporting, one of the ones that was mentioned. HRTX, we'll take a look at. Heron Therapeutics, looks like they already did report. It's a $1.35, not really moving too much. LFT, Lument Financial Trust, also not moving too much. So CORZ, by far the biggest of these. I also believe we're having Steve Tileman join us potentially at 4:15.
I do believe we.
So I have the Zoom ready for when he joins.
Maybe. Just want a quick note. There's another name moving here. It's TGNA. So TGNA is up significantly because Nexstar Media Group is in advanced talks to acquire TGNA. So this is not like it's up not because of earnings or anything like that. It's simply because the deal between Nexstar and TGNA is possible. It's not official. There's no terms. There's no offer that I can look at and tell you, but it is up on that speculation. So this tends to happen. Like they call it Merger Monday for a reason. So Friday afternoon and over the weekend, Sunday night, Monday morning, you tend to see a lot of deal making or deals get closed or open. Let's see if this happens next week. I'm never an advocate of, hey, jump into it and buy it because you don't know what the premium would be. You don't know what the terms might be. For all you know, they could buy this thing $18.50 cash and you're buying it at 20 and you're a sucker on Monday morning. So without any terms, that is a mover this afternoon for sure. Still not anything on Coors.
I have some ceasefire news though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Harinder Singh asking are there news on Coors earnings. Unfortunately, I don't have any news. But Wall Street Journal actually reporting that apparently Vladimir Putin of Russia is offering a ceasefire in Ukraine for the Eastern Territory. Apparently, he'd be demanding that Ukraine cede Donetsk, Luhansk, and Crimea. I am part Ukrainian. I should be able to pronounce all of those words better. But either way, Wall Street Journal, I guess, we know they want Crimea, Russia, but it looks like they also want Donetsk and Luhansk.
All I remember is that was a key area in the game of Risk.
Really?
Yes. I used to love playing board games, and I used to love. Well, I still love playing board games, but I loved Risk. That was one of those games where, yeah, I'll be honest with you. After a while, my family didn't want to play Risk with me because I like to be competitive during that game, and maybe I took it a little too seriously because I really wanted to. But what do you mean you want to stop? I'm winning. Like it's taking too long, but I'm winning. That's how I used to roll. But now I'm a little bit more cool. Kamchaka, that's right. Get it there, Corey, in the chat. Look, Coors, I don't know if they're out right now, but it's moving a little bit. That's the interesting thing. Like, it spiked, and now it's dropping, and now it's like the stock went up a couple of points, came back in. Now it's dropping a couple of points to the downside. So there is some activity on Coors, but we still have no earnings. We'll keep our eye on that. When we do get some numbers, if we do get some numbers, Adara's going to be all over it like she always is. You know she's got everybody here with the news. But we do have our good friend for some trader talk. We got Steve in the house. And there he is, our good friend Steve Talman, of course, as always. Welcome back. I hope you had a fantastic week. It's been a while. I would say it's been a wild one. But this one has been extra fun because this week we got a bunch of earnings from Russell names, a lot of small cap movers.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Yeah, it's been a fun one. Absolutely. Lots of fun stuff to talk about here. So where would you like to start? Good stuff.
Well, the first place that I kind of wanted to start with was, if we could, like, I don't know how much you've looked at this move in ETH and some of these runners that have been going with, whether it's SBED or BMNR, has been going absolutely nuts. I know you're not afraid to get involved with the small cap runners like HIMS and those types of plays, or smaller cap. Are you involved in any of these plays? Because these treasury hey, we're ETH treasury, we're a Bitcoin treasury. Like these have been substantial runners. Maybe they last a day or two sometime, but they've been really good opportunities for day trades. Are you involved in any? What's your take on those plays?
Oh, well, I'm really glad you mentioned SBET. That's a fun one there. I think it's got a lot of juice. I missed it. I looked at my charts at the end of the day here, and it looks like it gave a great entry off 2250-ish midday. But I think this is a runner, so I'm going to be looking for spots to enter this one next week pretty early. You're seeing a lot of these momentum, small cap baskets really start to move. So I think there will be some really good trading opportunities for the small cap boys next week.
That's always going to be a good look. The other question, you know what? I'm actually going to throw this one at you because there was I don't want to say it was like a difficult question to answer, because someone asked on the daily chart on the Qs, like the Nasdaq, and they just simply said, are we at a double top? And the way I sort of answered was, well, I mean, just because we got to the top doesn't automatically make it a double top. A double top means you're reversing off of it. And I don't anticipate a reverse in a bull market. I tend to play for the breakout and go from there. And if it reverses, it reverses, we react to it. What are your thoughts as we get into resistance here? Obviously, we're on the precipice of new highs in the middle of earnings season. A lot of the big names have already reported. How do you feel about this high in the Nasdaq?
I'm feeling pretty good. I don't know about you, but I'm basically echoing what you're saying here. So you got to test the all-time highs to make new all-time highs. Not every double top is going to reject. I think we need to digest this area. And like you said, we play what we see. It's a bull market. We're going to look for price acceptance here, digestion, and a push through. We'll play that. If we get the rejection, then we can talk about shorts. But I'm not seeing it yet. The market looks really healthy to me, honestly.
Yeah, thank you so much. I was kind of, it's not that I was hoping you would say that, but I always feel like the base case should be as simple as possible and not overthink things as a trader. Like you follow your rules and you move on, and the trend is your friend and all that. So the other question I wanted to ask you then would be, okay, what are you looking at next week? I feel like this week was you go from like AMD going absolutely crazy one day for us, and then the next thing you know, Apple is going nuts, and then today you had a lot of crypto names that were absolutely flying. So you're jumping around from place to place. It's not a situation where you're every single day, unless you're trading Palantir, you're doing the same thing over and over again. You're having to pick on a daily basis as a day trader. So what is your focus going to be next week?
Great question. So there's a couple areas I'm looking at. It makes it a bit tough right now, for me at least, because there's so many things that are interesting to me. But one area that I really wanted to mention was the rare earth mineral space, which seems to be breaking out. We have Chinese resolution to Chinese tariffs coming up pretty soon here. I believe that what we're seeing is kind of a front running of the potential relief from that tariff news, which should send China and these USAR type names, these MP type names, pretty explosive here. I mean, this is the leader MP, and what I'm seeing is the market finally starting to kind of give this news more validity on a broader sector base. So I'm really loving the USAR chart. This is my top watch next week.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is we were looking at MP's gone. By all intents and purposes, like that chart's going ham the way Palantir and Robinhood are going ham, and it's always very difficult to buy those at those highs. There aren't very many obvious strategies that you have that work. So my question for you on USAR is, it seems like it's got a wedge. If I was drawing the wedge, like the lower highs and the higher lows, has it not broken that wedge to some extent? Are you already involved in this? Because if you're looking for the wedge break, in theory, maybe it's already happened, or are you waiting for it to take out the high? What's the execution strategy? The deadline, the China deadline, that's the 12th, right? So that'll be on Tuesday. Mm. So are you waiting till next week, or is this something where you dip because technically it already looks pretty good?
So this is a name that I've played probably pretty sloppily. I thought that we already were getting the breakout a couple weeks ago there. So I took a position, got stopped out in a day pretty quickly here when it failed to hold this range from, July 16, 17, 18th-ish there. So we came back, retested support. I wasn't involved. I really wish I was paying closer attention because it just hit the support cluster and just was explosive off of there. But I got a little piece just yesterday off this 9-day moving average as it was pulling back into it because it was just shaping up nicely again. But honestly, I don't have enough of this thing. I'm really looking to add. So what I'd like to see is early next week, I'm just going to keep an eye on the closing price and on the previous high if it gaps up. I just want to see support where the traders left off this week, and that's enough to get me involved again as long as I see they're still into it next week.
I love that look, and I'll be perfectly candid. When I was looking at that wedge, if I was looking for a swing, I would have had that same long when it was breaking that wedge. That didn't work. It is what it is, and now it looks like it's working. Sometimes, and for everybody out there are going to be situations where you have a trade set up, you take it the first time, it doesn't work. It's in your toolbook, and you take it the second time, regardless of the outcome the first. That's just how it is. That's the life of a trader. I'm glad you're echoing that as well, Steve. Before we move on, I just want to quickly throw to Derek, because we've been waiting for Core's earnings. They just dropped out, and I want to see if we can get them, and then we'll come back.
Yeah, we do have them. These earnings were not good, guys. Core Scientific Q2 adjusted earnings, they in line, or I guess by 1 cent, they beat loss of 8 cents per share versus an expected loss of 9 cents per share. Sales were a miss, $78.628 million versus estimates of $80.765 million expected. So that's in line losses per share, but a sales miss.
There we go. Thank you very much, as always, Adara. We always want to make sure we're getting the news to our viewers. On a Friday, Steve, I feel like this is the first time we've been on. Nobody releases earnings on a Friday afternoon. There's a reason for that. Anyways, but Core is going to do some Core's things. Okay, so going back to the market, you've already mentioned you like some of those. Look, whether it's MP, which is far gone a little bit, but you've given us another play that maybe we can sink our teeth into. Anything else on the radar? Maybe we're not done earnings yet. And what's interesting is we're getting to these highs without NVIDIA reporting yet, which is, let's be real, that is the engine that drives the market right now. That's the engine that drives the AI play. I've noticed a little bit of weakness in some of the energy names for data center. Like all of a sudden, Vernova is topping out. Some of the nuclear names have started to reverse a little bit. And they're all moving together. It gives me at least a little bit of pause that there's some selling going on in some of the, what's the best way, the nuts and bolts of the AI play, even if everything else is rallying. What's your take going into specifically NVIDIA earnings in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, great question. So I think what we're starting to see is a little bit of diversification in the kind of AI play, playbook here. I think we're in the middle innings, and we are starting to kind of move away from like the obvious, like, okay, data center power and stuff.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see some really nice inflows into names that are more picks and shovels, more like semiconductor supply chain. For example, we talked about ALAB a few weeks ago, and that's almost a double since then. So I'm looking for these names like ALAB to continue going. I really like AMKR. This one had a fake breakout on earnings, but it's holding, and I think this one's really good to go too. So I'm in AMKR, I'm in Teradyne as well. I think all of this basket is looking excellent. So this is kind of where I'd like to see the money go. So maybe the OKLOs and the VSTs, maybe they need to take a breather and consolidate a little bit. But I'm still in my OKLO, and I still like it long. I think that they can all move together, even if it's a little bit of a not at the same time, you know.
Candidly, and just for full disclosure, I said this in the morning show. I had already sold some SMR. I did not sell any today, even though it's down 10%. But I did put a trail for a portion of my Vernova after the reaction today. And you got to put the money somewhere. And I feel like, to your point, I'm probably not the only one. You at least have an idea where you want to go. That AMKR looks really interesting, and obviously, what I love about that chart, we were just talking about smiley faces, which is buying the rounded bottom as something is breaking out. And to that point, it comes down to you don't need to pick a bottom to trade off the bottom. And sometimes it's a heck of a lot better. So it's a good call out there. That's a great take. And to that point, I just want to jump into the chat. And again, this isn't even a question. This is just a comment. Wild Bane saying, you've got great takes and thanks for the HIMS play. And this is the best thing about it. Because I know we kept coming back to this, and I hope you don't mind that we do. You were right on HIMS. The move worked. There happened to be bad news in the moment, but at the end of the day, we always had to be looking in the right place and analyzing our decisions, and so we can all get better. So I want to thank the viewer for that, and thank you for coming on. And when we get those positive notes, I want to make sure we pass them along to you. I don't know if you're in the chat to be able to read them.
I didn't see that. I'm not able to read it right now, but that means so much. I mean, that's why we do this, right? That's that made my day. So awesome.
That's what I love to see, Steve. Just one look. There's a lot more that we could get into. Obviously, I could pick your brain for the entirety of the session, and we could probably go all day long. We can go into the weekend, all that kind of good stuff. But one thing that we do not talk a lot about, at least I don't think we talk a lot about, has been sort of this, like we had a big move in energy, right? So when I get it, it was geopolitical. And maybe you don't look at energy stocks. But we had a big move in the middle of the day when there was talk about a Russia-Ukraine ceasefire again. There was a big time move down in oil. That is one sector, and to a certain extent healthcare as well, which has not been getting under the schneid. And we get a lot of questions about things that are trending down. When do you buy it? Have you looked at, and you can answer any way you want here, but specifically for energy and healthcare, two places that have been languishing. Are you seeing anything that indicates maybe there's a buy zone or there's something to sink your teeth into? I mean, everyone's trying to pick a bottom in things when the market's making highs. I tend to think don't do it, but everyone always asks the same question.
It's a really good question. I don't think there's an easy answer. What I would say is, I mean, we got to listen to what the market's telling us. And if we're in risk on mode, full steam ahead mode here, and the risk off baskets like energy and healthcare just can't catch a bid, I think we got to respect that and listen and keep our money working for us where it's working best. That being said, I know the long-term investors, they want to get a foothold because, I mean, these are critical sectors, like they will eventually catch quite a bit. For me in XLV, I think I thought it was looking good until a week or two ago, and the bottom fell out there. I think that it needs to sweep out to maybe 120 to 123-ish, somewhere in that zone. I'm kind of looking at the wicks from the weekly and monthly sticks from the previous consolidation range. But what I would tell people is you don't have to rush to buy these unless you really need like sector exposure for some specific reason for your strategy. I mean, you can just wait for there to be a significant buy signal. I mean, we'll probably get a big flush out, and then there will be at some point capitulation volume. And I think that's what we should be looking for, capitulation volume into a key support level.
Yeah, because day traders, we always look for that bottoming tail candle, right? You can look for that too in the longer time frame. That's great advice. As always, Steve Talman, our good friend over from Trade the Pool. First off, thank you for all your advice. And we got to make a habit of always reading the positive comments that we get while you're on here. So thank you for coming. Have a fantastic weekend. We look forward to talking to you next week.
Thank you so much. And if you'd like, come on by, everybody, and check out we're doing a webinar here in 15 minutes on Camarilla pivots. So if you got time, come on and hang out.
There it is. Thanks so much, Steve. Everyone check him out there. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good one.
Thanks, you too.
All right, everybody. It's a special edition of the Market Recap Show because we have a special treat. Now, if you've been following the show, then you probably know that we've had a viewer who has been incredibly gracious in his comments, in his support of the channel, in his support of the community, who's been visiting. So I want to introduce, if you didn't see earlier this week, we've got Nimrod here in the building again. Thank you for coming on through. You had a mic on and everything. And the best part, before I let Nimrod speak, the best part about Trader TV Live is that we're all just trying to learn and get better. And I think you exemplify that the most. We had a great discussion there today, and we appreciate your generosity. Can't thank you enough for stopping by. It's so cool to meet our viewers.
Thanks. I really just wanted to say, especially to the community, I was very excited to come here, but also had some concerns. You're always warned not to meet your heroes. And you know how people are on screen, you don't know how they are off screen. And besides that, you're doing something very intense like day trading. So I didn't want to even interfere. I gotta say, I was so surprised for the better, and all my expectations were exceeded. These guys are so generous with their time, with their knowledge, so welcoming. I cannot convey my appreciation. You see, I'm a bit like, I can't really convey my appreciation. And these guys are for real. Like, they really care about us. beyond that, and that's also something I think it's important like to convey, we look at these guys trade, and sometimes it looks like, okay, there's technical analysis and stuff, but behind it, there's so much rationale and theory and knowledge. And we should really, really pay a lot of attention, not only to the positions being traded, but to the principles that are being taught here, which are incredible. So again, like I feel this community is so privileged to have such amazing people that don't only like trade and care about us on screen, but also off screen. So I really want to convey my appreciation to everyone here and send a lot of love to the folks in the chat in this amazing community as well. Thank you so much, guys. Really, thank you so much. The only thing I will say that broke my conception is we're very obsessed with like apple pie interventions for Joe, but it's just a spin trying to cover our eyes from the true horror of Sharif's fetish with eggs. And we really need to pay closer attention to the real underlying issues in this place. Other than that, thank you everyone so much for the hospitality. So.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you've just taken our jobs, that right there.
That was
and on
fantastic.
top of that, you just mic drop it on. You just dunk on both of them at the same time.
And they're both there. Like, they're both right off camera. You can hear Sharif, and you briefly saw the side of Joe's head for some reason. So, yeah.
So
one thing you guys have to realize is, like, trust me, like, this is, like, this show is a community. Like, you come here, we're going to have jokes. We got to talk some shop, obviously.
And Neil's hair is actually black, by the way, just for your knowledge. Like, I was amazed, yeah.
Well, see, this is why, first of all, thank you for the kind words, but the fact that you say I have less gray than it seems like is just amazing, because I don't think it's true. But in all seriousness, thank you so much for the kind words.
We had a super chat for you as well. David Tresiak in the chat saying, Nimrod, my man.
David.
So shout out, thank you to David, thank you to you for being here as well.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much, Nimrod.
Take care.
Like, to say this is why we do it, yeah, this is why we do it. Because trading is not easy, and trading without a community, nobody should have to trade without support. That's the best way. Nobody should have to trade without support. That's why we're here. That's why the trading floor that I've been on, myself, Sean, for years, everyone shares ideas and helps. Like, you literally, we got a friend from the Algo group sitting here watching right now, who every single time I walk past them, we're starting to talk shop. It's like, what are you looking at today? What were you trading? That's what it's all about. That's what we try to do. But the other thing we do, everybody, is get some roll call. We cannot get out of here without Adara dropping some roll call. And if you don't know what it is, then get your button to chat right now by hitting that subscribe button, because it's a subs only chat. And then give a big shout out to Nimrod for stepping on through. Give a big shout out to the entire team. But more specifically, Nimrod, we're going to say thank you, Nimrod, and Adara Genom.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And I feel so lucky. I've actually the privilege of always being able to trade within this community. I never traded on my own. I was introduced to the market here. So I feel very lucky for this awesome community. Thank you so much to Nimrod for being here. Thank you to our friends. Everyone on the team. I'm having a brain blip. Thank you to Neil, Sean, Sharif, Joe, Brendan, Fabian, Ramin, Andre. We had Obi today. So get it, Obi. Get it, Baron Bull Dolls on the desk. I'm losing my mind. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Brebro, Troy Webb, MF Dangerous. We've got Bull Shark, Minnesota Trader, D. Westmeyer, Derek Thompson won. Chris over here, Ben Bradley, LMTV Network, Danny Dollars, Valkyrie, CompuCare Team, Tigger Lucy, Big Joel, John Fitz, Notorious Dinkelberg, that's a great name. We've got Maximus, Ryan O'Day, Calvin, and we'll end it with Mike DeRider. Thank you guys so much for being here with us every day. We'll see you on Monday. There's lots of retail favorites reporting on Monday after the bell. I do think that next week's market recap on Monday might be a skosh spicy.
It'll be spicy. Also, Mike DeRider, where are you going? You cannot say in the chat that you're traveling somewhere, but you can't tell us. That just makes us want to know. So Mike DeRider, he keeps saying this, but you won't tell us where you're going, so I'm calling you out. Let us know if you can. But have a good trip if you're visiting, and make sure that you tune in as well as much as you can. It's going to be a wild week next week. It was already a lot of fun. Thanks again to Nimrod. We're Trader TV Live. We will see you Monday morning at 8:30. Bye, everybody.
See ya. Good show, good show.